Going live is not
Oh, okay. Oh, see?
okay now.
What I had to go to the point myself as a healer while my idiot team was just like, you know what? Let's just follow the. Let's not go ourselves.
That was me, basically. That was.
I just remember an old Zenyatta. Someone made an
Oh
old
my god! I was trying to kill
animation
the
where
Iron Man.
Zenyatta and Mercy are just like, the payload is not moving.
Oh God.
Well,
The
everyone like they're
people in
just
this
off.
game are
Everyone's
so
off in
funny.
the middle of BFE. But it, like the guy made the animation use nothing but
Come
used nothing but in-game
on!
sounds to do this, and like so then it became Zenyatta and Mercy riding the payload with oversized sunglasses.
We don't get a tank. Oh my God. Okay.
I didn't even telegraph doing the freaking Jeff ult when I was trying to heal people to get people off the fucking point, but it was my teammates instead.
Oh
My God.
Maybe I need to take a break from rivals.
you do.
Yeah. Focus on FGO, maybe.
Yeah. It's not like we have an event on JP tomorrow.
On NA right now.
I mean, I already did some of that.
It's just the freaking point node. The worst it's the worst node.
Yeah, what I want to do
The
is
cutie
if it's
behind
the
me
point
is
node.
giving me encouragement. Okay.
Speaking of which, I'm
Courage
gonna
is
go do more of that
me.
right
Hey, what,
now.
Mr. Loki
See you guys later.
clones?
Penguin. Penguin. Penguins are the greatest thing ever.
And we don't. Oh, okay, of course.
Goodbye. Have fun. Go our pants.
Again!
Hello, everyone. How's it going? We're on time-ish. Definitely a little bit late, but, well, it's tax season. What do you expect? But at least we're not as late as yesterday. Kegan, thank you for the Twitch Prime 4 minutes ago, right before I started stream. Am I well rested? No. I mean, like, I can't really catch up on sleep during the week, but I at least, like, got a, like, normal night's sleep last night, so it helps. I'm still tired, though. Not as tired as I was. Hello, Mega. Let me get the go live tweet out here. Oh god. What? Oh god. Too many tabs. Okay, there we go. All right, the tweet is live. Do me the favor, chat. Go give it some love. And let me grab today's art, which I have no idea what I did with. There it is. Wait, is my capture card not working? Oh, yeah, okay. I never mind. Capture card was working fine. It was an operator error. Alrighty. Let's get this party started, chat. Shall we? Hello, everybody. And we're doing the JP player survey today. Can you read English? Okay, here is today's artwork. Go give the artist some love. Nada. Okay, glad to hear it. And there we go. All right, should be good on both sides. Yeah, I got a full night's sleep last night at least, but full night's sleep for me on the work week is like normally like 6 hours, and that's normally enough-ish. I end up pretty tired by the end of the work week because I usually like to get my 8 hours, but I never do. But the problem is when you're operating on like a 2-hour sleep from the prior night, it's like, yeah, you get 6 hours. It's like, cool, you've now had 8 hours between 2 days. So it's like this is just not gonna go well at that point. But yeah, I still feel better compared to yesterday, which should be good because now I can actually form thoughts with my brain and I should be able to do stuff. God damn it, YouTube! I'm seeing YouTube having an issue. Let me restart it. Hopefully that fixes it. If it doesn't, then I don't know what. Okay. But how is chat doing today? How are you, like, anything fun or interesting happened? I don't think I asked you guys how your weekend went. I think I pretty much just started yesterday's stream talking about the superb owl and all that. But again, I hope everybody had a good one. Go ahead and pop that. So we have the 90 node today on an A. It is just a point node, so there's nothing too terribly complex about it. It's a very straightforward node. You basically can do whatever the heck you want with it. But obviously it's just going to get you the points. So, oh, I shouldn't have popped that. I forgot. My Habitrock can't necessarily kill this. I need to go back to using a rash because that way I'll cut down on the potential 4 turns. Do it like that. Bunk. It's cold, it's rainy, I'm ready for summer. I mean, I'm like low-key ready for summer as well. I either want the cold to come back or I want like it to be summer because it's in this like weird like room temperature limbo outside. and I'm kind of annoyed by it, where it's like it's just cold enough that like without a jacket you're kind of cool in the morning, and it's somewhat annoying in that regard. But then like during the rest of the day it's just warm enough that you wouldn't want a jacket. So it needs to like get out of this crappy like middle temperature that it's in. Like there's certain points in the day where it's like, oh, it's perfect room temperature and it doesn't feel bad, but it's because it's still kind of winter that like you have the fluctuation. Not too cold, not too hot, yeah. Wait for spring for it to warm? What's spring? Is that one of the seasons? We don't have that here. There's just summer and not summer. Like that's all this ever is. Is it edible? I don't know. I guess we have springs in Florida. Like Zephyr Hills springs and stuff. Summer hurricane and maybe cold front. Hurricane isn't well, I guess it is a season. I don't like that you've pointed this out to me now, because I don't want to think about it like that. Because that makes it sound inevitable, and we don't get hit by a hurricane every year. Though admittedly, this has like been a thing of late. So I'm just hoping we're through our like 20-year cycle and we go another 20 years without really getting hit. Because we got hit a whole bunch back in like 03 and 04, and then we didn't really get that many hurricanes between then and like now this last couple of years. So it's like, yeah, it seems like it's a 20-year cycle at this point. The weather pattern shifts and all the hurricanes get bent towards Florida. Trubs with the rare Osaka Behime up on support. Mine with the... Okay, no, mine, come on. Come on. I take it mine doesn't have MLB of the point C. Yeah, like point C is all I'm taking right now, so it is what it is. Death, taxes, and hurricanes? No, you see, hurricanes are absolutely escapable, unlike the other two. God damn it, I did it again. I popped her skill right off the bat. Whatever. Let's do it like this. Bonk. Do you think this Valentines will finally get a Semiramis buff? I don't know. I don't really know what to think about the upcoming JP Valentines. It's like V-Day, you just kind of expect certain things, so I guess it's fine, but I have no idea what they plan to do, because like at this point, everything that the devs need to do and everything that the devs are doing are not necessarily lining up, and I think there's reasons for that. I think we could talk to great extents about it. We kind of did touch on it yesterday with our discussions about like the desire for the developers to buff and why you need to buff in a video game, particularly a live service game like this. But I don't know, right? Like I think the devs are at least doing some buffing, but kind of how they go about it is still like such a like measured and like even pace compared to the like kind of how they release a unit. How they release a unit seemingly is just like, fuck it, we ball, and they just like throw anything out there. But how they buff a unit is seemingly like, no, let's not make them too strong. At least most of the time. There are some buffs out there that have been like ridiculous, if you ask me. MHXA buff just because? True. They could definitely do something like that. Cad's house is ready for hurricane season. I mean, you're not wrong, because I basically haven't I basically haven't taken down like a lot of the like hurricane protections that I had up. I still have like towels in some of my windows. This is partially because of laziness, but it's also because like I'm just at this point now where it's like there's too many damn hurricanes, and I'm just like, stop. So until we have a year where I don't have any, I'm not going to take them down. Kiara's buff was still ridiculous. Which one? Should we give MHXA a 1000% damage against sabers? Why? She already has damage against sabers. Oh no, was there another one I missed? This is why I'm asking. There's multiple buffs to Kiara, so I'm like, which one are you referring to? Because unfortunately, these things can be like always up to like interpretation, right? Do a quick refresh, see if anybody's got it. Nope, not too many MLB point Cs on support. Not that I blame people in that regard. I can make when I did get 2 C drops. I got one myself, and I was surprised by that. Do it like that. Is there a chance you'll roll on JP tomorrow? Maybe. Like, we know nothing about the unit chat, so I'm just not going to like say yes or no, right? Like until we know more about it. Like, we don't even know the fucking name, chat. Asking me whether or not I'm gonna roll is kind of pointless. We do, we don't. It's Sparkly Cast. Okay, that's a nickname, sure. Kita until proven otherwise. Yeah. A nickname is a name. But is it? Just saying. Copium shall be quick savior. I mean, at this point, I think you could hope for that for every single unit, and eventually you'll be right. I don't know. I think that idea that quick necessarily needs a savior is also another interesting one. I think at this point, the game just needs quick overall to be better. It doesn't necessarily have to be like some huge monumental shift. It can just come in like a couple of small ways. But it would, like, if they do the right things, it would absolutely improve the status of quick. So I don't know really what to tell them at that point. There, I gave you an MLB. Thank you, Bob. You didn't have to. I expect good karma. Well, only if you log in. Only if you're available for me. Is quick bad because other types are superior, or is quick just bad? Quick is kind of bad because other types are superior. It's not like you can't use quick. It's not like quick is like somehow like detrimental for you to have or use. It's just a case of a lot of the times you can form compositions that are better or easier to do so, kind of with the resources at hand. The other card types are just better supported. They have more units that kind of function from 0 and stuff like that. So it's kind of just a weird position at this point for quick. Quick's card performance is actually pretty decent, especially depending on the unit that you're looking at. So I think that's something that a lot of people overlook. But the meta in the game always has been, and probably always will be, like Noble Phantasm farming. And like I say this because, you know, even though we have units out there like Seal, I think a lot of people don't really understand that the developers have a chip on their shoulder when it comes to trying to like make sure that the Noble Phantasm gets appreciated. They've said it before, they'll say it again, but like essentially there's no point in allowing you to like skip Noble Phantasm animations, because that's where like so much of the value and hard work for the unit is. So it would be like the equivalent of the devs doing all this hard work only for you to just ignore it. And I think the devs don't want that to be the case. So, but yeah, so it's like because of that, I don't really see them shifting more towards like carding. I think you will see the occasional unit like Seal that can pop off with the cards, but I don't think you're going to see like full blown like consistent carding setups at the expense of like all else, where you just never see a Noble Phantasm or anything, because it would just become a major issue if they did. I'm giving new quick sports will only earn them more money on quick units, so I don't know why they're delaying it still. Yeah, and like I said, I've had people try to argue with me and say that the solution for quick is actually in the units themselves, and that like quick is perfectly fine. And it's like, if it's perfectly fine, then why does the community feel otherwise, right? And don't get me wrong, like I'm not somebody that has a chip on my shoulder about quick. I use it pretty regularly. I don't have much like issue with it in the sense that I can always make it useful, but I think a lot of other people do find it to be lackluster and don't feel like it has enough. And that's usually who I'm speaking on behalf of when I say these things. And I think there is some merit to it. I think like regardless of whether or not you can make it work, the truth of the statements like that the supports just are not as robust in terms of their options and stuff, I think is just absolutely wholeheartedly true. And people can argue that, but I don't really see the point in arguing it, because it's like, to me, that's just people trying to, on one hand, kind of have a like bad faith argument of like, oh, everything's perfectly peachy for the card type. But then on the other hand, they'll sit there and they'll be like, oh, Megalol, I'm just using my NP5 like Melisson or something like that all the time. And it's like, well, you're never fucking using it, but then you're arguing that Quick doesn't need a buff. It's like, okay, chat. So it's like I saw on Marvel Rivals Reddit today, where there were people that were calling out like saying like, hey, you know, DPS, if you see your healers constantly getting destroyed, go play Namor, because Namor's a really good like anti-flanker, anti-dive character. And so they were just asking him, like, you know, pick up Namor and learn him so that you can actually be a good, helpful like person to the team. And there were a bunch of people in the comments saying, no, don't pick up Namor. Namor's trash. And everyone being like, of course it's the dive people that are saying this because they don't want to play against Namor, right? So it's like, it's the same concept here, where it's like, yeah, people are going to say Quick is perfectly fine because for their purposes, they don't give a shit, or they already are like using it to such a like weird degree that it doesn't really matter, but they're kind of like missing the rest of the forest, right? So it's like they have some sort of like weird ass bias for why they're making the argument. Do you think kits like Kukulkans were meant to make Quick better indirectly by finding other uses for stars? See, that's an interesting one. No. And the reason why not is because Kukulkan's not even close to the first unit that uses stars on her skills. Kukulkan represents the evolution of star use skills because hers make sense and actually function well, as opposed to like Moriarty and Semiramis, where it didn't originally. So they've kind of fixed Moriarty, at least. They've never really done anything with Semiramis, but it's not the biggest of concerns at this point due to the way that the Buster system works. So, but do I think that's what that was designed for? No. But do I think you could apply it to Quick? Yes, certainly. I do think that's something that you could say like, hey, this kind of works. And it would at least give you some sort of benefit to, you know, sitting there and being like, oh, I just used Atalanta and I have 99 stars. What do I do? So I think there's some potential value, because if you look at like the usefulness of critical stars, obviously they are useful, but there is an argument that like past a certain point they're not. In the same way that like if your art's looping and you refund past 100%, that may not have a use if you can't get to say 200%. So you go and you sit there and you go like, okay, but this is like actually Quick's like major deal, and stars are so easy to manufacture in the other comps that we just kind of go like, well, then what is really like Quick's actual claim to fame? And that's been debated numerous times over the years. It'll be a cool thing, yeah. Quick has to wait till next turn. Buster is instant stars. No, I mean like Quick is instant stars too because of how Summer Scotty works. So they should have a skill that scales off of total stars. Yeah, I mean there's been a lot of proposals for like what they can do, but this is where I'm gonna say like they don't necessarily even need to do all of this. It like Quick's biggest issues are like how its supports actually work at the current point in time. Like for instance, someone in chat earlier was saying like Quick needs a defensive ult. Quick has a defensive ult. It's Scotty. Scotty's defensive ult just kind of sucks. That's the issue with it. It doesn't stack with any other form of evasion. It doesn't have multiple multiple stacks to it. So you're just kind of a one and done, and literally everything in the game pretty much pierces it. So it's just really not that good. At this point, you can kind of tell that because the buff that they gave to Scotty's ult didn't buff her defensive capability, it buffed damage. So you know what they kind of intended it for. And I think that was due to the pressure that like Castoria was putting out at that time. They said, you know what, Castoria applies offensive up as she uses her ult. Let's kind of give Scotty the same thing. And I'm like, okay, cool, but the problem with Scotty is Scotty doesn't have a way to naturally get back to her ult. So this is an issue inherently with the Quick system. They could do buffs to help Scotty in that regard. But yeah, it's like, to me, the problem isn't necessarily Scotty herself. The problem isn't Summer Scotty either. Both of them are very good supports, and they actually have their uses and are really nice. The problem is they can only do so much without just making them completely freaking busted. So, like chat was saying earlier, at some point they're going to have to come out with another support because, well, the devs want money, and that just makes perfect sense for them to do. If they don't ever come out with another support, it's them just flushing money down the toilet, which is their own damn fault. I keep telling you Scotty needs a better buff. Yeah, I mean, I don't dispute that. I've for a while now, I've basically given you guys a couple of options that they could run with. And I don't think it's like that crazy to say that Scotty needs a buff by any stretch of the imagination. What was I running? Yeah, sure, why not? I love that you keep calling NP's ults due to Marvel Rivals. Sorry, I do the exact opposite, where I'm like, all right, I'm going to use my NP in Marvel Rivals, so it goes back and forth. But also, to be fair, calling them an ult is like pretty much what every other like game refers to it as. Just Fate actually has a term for that, right? Hey, let's just go ahead and do this. And then this. That Quick will never be good in the way the community wants because the players just want arts but green. Yeah, and I've been accused of that, saying like that's all I want, and I'm like, no, I think there are ways that you can make it unique. However, I do think it's problematic because a lot of what they have done now like kind of limits them. That is to say, okay, like, so what do? Do you make it not dependent on refund? Well, then if you make it not dependent on refund, then it's Buster but green, right? So like you run into problems no matter how you try to handle this. But I do think there are still ways that they can kind of get that job done. Arts is now overrated. That was a statement that you could say. I don't agree with it, but that was a statement that you could actually utter. Card manipulation on a low buff support. I mean, they could do stuff like that. It's just like no matter what they do, they just have to add more options. So like for starters, I do think Quick needs a party charger. And not like, oh, it's a party charger, but it's somebody that like doesn't do 30%. And they also are like actually just a damage dealer, right? Like in disguise. So like if you look at Taigong Wang, for instance, that's kind of what I consider. And Taigong Wang can be really good in certain scenarios, but he's still not going to cover that party charge issue that you really have, at least not fully by himself, right? They really do need that. Quick, yeah, so Quick doesn't have a sustain unit. It doesn't have like a Merlin-esque type unit that can sit there and kind of pump up healing. Quick doesn't have a singular low star support, really. You could try to get away with using something like, what's his face, like Alexander or something like that, but it's really like, it's not. That's not enough to be considered a support in my books. So at that point, yeah, they kind of got to do something with Quick, but it doesn't really matter. They just kind of need to start doing it at this point because it's years behind in some of the other units. Now, don't get me wrong, they have made certain Quick units that are these sort of like hybrid type units, and they are somewhat better. But you know, again, I think the argument that that fixing Quick doesn't need to happen because the solution is already in the existing units is a bad faith argument. Because sure, maybe that works for some of the newer units that are hybrids, but that sure as shit doesn't work for older units. Like for instance, how is that supposed to work for someone like say MHX here that doesn't have a kit that's even remotely like geared towards something like that, right? So it's not necessarily going to work. How does it work for an Atalanta or somebody like that that's just a conventional 3-turn looper? So it's like if we say that the community wants just arts but green, well, understand that part of the issue there is that that is exactly what the devs have set up. It's the dev's own fault for designing units that way. So you can blame the community for it, but it is a like preconception, and people do have a tendency to value farming at the expense of all else in this game. Whether or not you agree with that, I think at least there is a reason for it, because farming is like 90% of the content of the game. So it makes sense that people would value it highly. They can make Boudica Summer into a support for Quick. Listen, I'm A-okay with that simply on the premise that we get Boudica Summer. They kind of muddied that with Summer Scotty having Buster crit damage. Yeah, and I think this is a really telling thing that Summer Scotty and Osaka Behime are two Quick supports that basically had to dip into Buster in order to fix Quick. So therein lies your problem. If you have a unit like that that's having to rely on another card type, you're already setting this standard that like maybe the devs don't necessarily know what a good solution would look like. And I can kind of agree, because any solution I can come up with to help Quick does have drawbacks. There's no like simple one-size-fits-all solution. Now, who knows, right? Like maybe there is a scenario kind of like Koyanskaya where they pull the rabbit out of the hat and you just like, man, I can't believe they thought of that. I would have never thought of that type deal. They could do that, but I think it's unlikely that they do it because, again, this has been a discussed topic for so many years now that we've basically discussed every single possible solution. So at this point, if they were to come out with a new Quick support, what would it look like? I guarantee you it'd be one of the things we've already discussed, because I just don't see them doing something unless they expand the combat system and start adding new features that didn't previously exist before. We don't have Grailfront or tower events enough to focus on not loop units. It's not that. I think like there's still challenge content and stuff in the game, right? It's just a lot of the challenge content is easy enough that you can get it done with normal farming units. So it's not a like huge deal to try and like emphasize challenge at this point, because most of the game doesn't really require you to have a very robust challenge-esque account. I do think there's some logic to it. I do think there's a reason to like go the challenge route with some of the stuff, but yeah, it's not the end of the world if you don't. You need either MP gain or MP damage. Sometimes you get 99 stars per turn, which is completely useless. Yeah, and a lot of people have talked about that before. Here's the only thing that I'll say, because again, I've talked about this ad nauseum, but the problem with something like this, if you create a system in which the conversion of stars provides some benefit, you can do that. However, there is a requirement that I have in order to do that. The requirement is that it must only benefit Quick, because if it doesn't, then inevitably it doesn't help Quick, because it will just immediately go towards other comps like Buster that can manufacture stars on demand on whatever turn that they want. So you have a huge problem with that sort of thing. It has to be specific and only help Quick-centric units, or it doesn't really make Quick stronger, because it will just raise the bar of all of the compositions rather than just Quick. So in a weird way, yeah, Quick has to actually get some selfish stuff in order for it to succeed at this point. Oh my god, what are these cards? Let's do that. So that way I keep the Star Bomb for the other turn, but I probably am going to need that crit damage instead. Problem is making it unique to Quick, where Arts and Buster can't use it too. Right, so I can think of at least one way, and the way would be to limit it to either it being useful only to a Quick NP, or limiting it to only units that have Quick Noble Phantasms. So that would be a way to actually go like, okay, now it has it buffed, god damn it, of course it did. That would be a way at least to make it so it's like, okay, this only now impacts these subset of units and not other units. By the way, not all Quick units can generate 99 stars. Correct. So, and this is the same idea of like, well, if you go this route with a solution, it's going to benefit some units way more than others. Though, to be fair, we've had systems like this before. For instance, not every Arts unit could loop back in the day, even with Castoria. You also had, once Koyanskaya came into the game, it benefited certain Buster units far more than others. Like, for instance, the Artoria faces that refund 20% on the back end didn't help them due to the block 50 charge issue. Or units that had 20% charge or less in their entire kit, it didn't necessarily help either. So you end up with these weird sort of drawbacks, and I'm not going to say a system has to be completely one size fits all, but you do want to try and cover at least the majority of the units where it's like, hey, this is a benefit to most units of this type. 60 stars between 2 Kyans and an Oberon. Yep. No, Cag, you get stars from Oberon as well. So yeah, you have 60 stars right there. And that's assuming that the unit themselves has no stars, of which a lot of Buster units do. Still waiting for quick meta Abe no Seimei. I'm gonna laugh when Abe no Seimei finally comes into the game. You bring Starbomb Seas. Yeah, I mean, I just like I said, anything that you do that is star centric could definitely benefit another card type. So you're in a weird spot. Yeah, I don't even need to get into like Starbomb Seas as far as I'm concerned, because it's just, it is what it is. Well, this is a not great amount of buffage here, so I'm not sure that Bizette will actually kill, but she probably will. Mine is a strong Bizette. Well, I think Ketz has sure hit somewhere in her kit. But also the fact that Ketz just buffed didn't help. Yeah, because now we don't get to finish her. That's so stupid. There. Eat crit damage. So quick only NP up or NP gain based on stars. Yeah, we've talked about solutions like that before. So it's like, I don't know. I don't really care what they do. I'm just going to say that there has to be some solution to the issue at some point. Because the longer that they leave quick like this, the more the community will just sit there and have a negative opinion towards it. I don't think it's like the end of the world. Like, I think people do still roll for quick units, but I also think there is a negative stigmatism that exists within the community. And I think every time you have a quick unit on rate up, people are tangibly less likely to roll. So I don't think it's a good thing to have in your game at this point. And it's sad because quick did have a zenith, a sort of resuscitation once Scotty came out. It went from the worst card type in the game to suddenly like one of, if not the best. And it stayed there for a while until Castoria came into the game. But the second Castoria came into the game, it really hurt quick. And part of that was because Castoria was just a new milestone in pure efficiency and capability that Scotty could not really hope to match. I think just a new quick support with broken up charge would help a lot. Yep. Like I said, party charge would definitely benefit quick. Sustain would definitely benefit quick. Low star options would definitely benefit quick. It doesn't really matter how they want to do it. They just need to start adding some of these. Is there anything LaSingle could do gameplay wise to make you quit the game, Cad? They would need to do something either extremely stupid, a la PvP, or extremely greedy. Like, chat, I'm going to say this yet again, but I think if the developers try to pull some shit like they did with the coin system ever again, that might be my sign to be done. Like, and I don't mean done. Like, I might still play the game, but I think I'd stop spending on the game. Because at that point, it's all about the money for them, and they just don't care. I think rolling for NP6 was such a stupid and asinine thing. And the fact that this community actually tolerated it just means that, like, there's a point where I'm going to say, like, they could almost get away with murder and people would still be okay with it. So it wouldn't matter to me, but that would be my sign to get while the getting is good, because it's all downhill from there. Right? So I don't want to think about that sort of thing, but I really hope that they don't ever do that again. And if they do, I will sit there and I will really have to think hard about what my future covering this game would be like. We are famed for being stupid. That's fine. I know what I'm getting into with this stuff, but I don't want, like, I've already I have poured so much money into this game. I love this game. But if a developer starts going, I require more from you, that's when I go, no, go fuck yourself. I spend what I want to on this game. I don't need undue pressure from the developer to spend more because somehow it's not enough anymore because they're being greedy. Right? Do you think whatever JP hits end of service, NA is going to hit end of service at the same time? I'm not even going to answer that question because that just gets into some of the like insane ass doomer talk that we've been in for years. That frankly, every time I answer questions like this, people start going, oh, CAD's extremely doomer. Like we've had that talk ad nauseum. I've been asked that question 1,000 times. I'm just not even going to answer it anymore. Hernandez, thank you for the prime. Appreciate it, buddy. Chat, can we get some love for Hernandez? Am I going to do the survey today? Yeah, let me get the melt interlude done and we'll get that started. A 30% AoE charger would solve so many of Quick's issues. It really would. And that's why I've said, like I pointed that out and people are like, oh, you just want Quick Castoria. And I'm like, well, hear me out. A Quick Castoria would not be like the end of the world. But no, I'm more focused on like Quick actually needs a party charger that can do 50%. That would really help it out so much because it would open up the door to a lot of multiple damage dealer situations and setups. And I know people will be like, oh, but Cad, that Quick can already do this. Quick can do it with very specific units. This would open the door to the vast majority of Quick's roster being able to do it. So it would be really, really nice if they allowed that. Would having to faux pas your NP be bad for the game? I mean, it wouldn't be a deal breaker, but it would be extremely bad from the standpoint they don't give out enough faux pas. Give Castoria a buff and now she's quick and hurts. Oh god. I'm pretty sure people that already see about the strength of Castoria in this game would probably, that would make them quit. And I would probably laugh. Like, I wouldn't give two shits because it's one of my favorite units. But I think, like, it would naturally... Sorry, chat. Like, my nose is just really freaking itching. There we go. Okay. Yeah, I think it would just pour salt on the wound at this point for some of those people. Which is also where I think, like, some of the takes of, like... oh, Quick isn't Quick is perfectly fine. It doesn't need any of these things that you're talking about. I think that's where it comes from. I think it comes from the crowd of people that are like usually way more like challenge oriented, and they very purposefully don't use Castoria because they view it as like beneath them. They view it as an I win button. And so then they sit there and they go like, Quick's fine. It's like, well, yes, of course. You're going to say Quick's fine when you eliminate the actual meta-defining unit for another card type. Like, it is what it is. I don't know how to argue with something like that. It's just, like I said, it's another, like, bad faith argument. Quick Merlin, maybe? A Quick Merlin, and, like, you don't necessarily have to make it as strong as, like, Merlin or Proto Merlin, right? But Quick with a unit that can do sustain, that can provide more charge over time and like, healing, you could do something really, really nice with that. So, I'm down for it. Particularly if they can protect the party, which is at that point similar to Merlin, right? Like, so I don't really care how they want to do it, but yeah, like if you had a Quick Merlin, it would just be really, really strong. But they don't have to do something exactly like Merlin. In fact, if you just had a healing unit that did charge per turn, and then you maybe paired that alongside, say, Scotty, who does have a defensive ult, okay. Right there, you have a interesting pairing. So they could kind of say, hey, here's what we're doing with other card types and other supports, and maybe divvy some of that up so that it's a different mix for Quick. And then it's not the exact same, but it's similar in terms of its capability. And I'm fine with that if they want to do something like that. Perfect time for Abe no Merlin, yeah. And those people are dumb. Your words, not mine. But yeah, like, I understand the challenge community has a much, much different approach to things. But that's also why I usually don't listen to, like, complaints coming out of the challenge community. Because a lot of complaints coming out of the challenge community are coming from people that are complaining that the game doesn't have enough challenge. And that's fine. I get that. But not everybody plays this game for the challenge of it, right? So it's like, it is what it is. I think most people just view this game as a waifu collector, and that's really all they care about. And I think people have a tendency to, like, really, really, like, overhype certain aspects of the game because it's like, I don't know, like something that they just really love. And that's cool. That's fine. But I don't really care. Like for me, I do kind of everything, and I'm just more about like collecting the characters and like maxing out my account. But I don't care too much about like what the content is that brings it, so long as the content isn't like constantly overbearing and stuff like that. Quick support that doesn't have the ability cooldowns, and instead they need to eat a lot of stars to take advantage of the fact that quick teams currently just make 80 to 200 stars a turn. Well, I think that's a gross exaggeration of the 80 to 200 stars thing there. And the reason that I'm going to like point out something like that, Twilight, is just because when you make an argument like this, it's important to get the numbers at least closer to accurate. So, for instance, what did we just do? We just NP'd with Bizette, and I got 47 stars. However, I don't remember if I used any of her cards there. If I did, maybe it would have been more than this. I assume I didn't, because I assume she just like probably killed on the reaction to her, but maybe I did. I don't know. Either way, I think like seeing something in the realm of like 30 to 60 stars is fairly normal for quick. Seeing something 60 plus is abnormal, but it does happen on very specific units. So like I'm not going to say that this like is something you can't do. You absolutely can. It's just dependent on the unit. But I think this is probably the much greater norm, right? But yeah, it's like even if you look at that, like something like 30 stars per turn, you could definitely use that pretty effectively depending on what you wanted to do. So I don't think it's that crazy. Like if they wanted to, you know, make a system that functioned based off of that. History, what's that? Nani. Cag, can you see YouTube chat? Yes. I frequently like ping pong back and forth between both. Hello, JC. I also have a tendency, chat, to like not look too much at chat when I'm like sitting there trying to think a lot. So if you see me like looking up and stuff like that and talking for long periods of time, it means I'm probably not reading the chat too much at that current point. But it's just because I'm trying to articulate my thoughts and like organize them. So like Kukulkan, where you have the active ability. Yeah, I think like, you know, that got brought up earlier, and it's like I think Kukulkan could be a reasonable way to do something like that, where you have the option. Oh my god, there's another melt one. Fuck it. We do another melt one, chat. Do you know what the Bolo series is? Bolo. I don't think I do. Some quick loopers spit out stars, some don't. Like Lohi doesn't really spit out a ton of stars unless it's QQQ. Yeah, and to be fair, like Lohi doesn't really need to, because Lohi just has a shit ton of charge, right? So at that point, if you have enough charge to just like Noble Phantasm kill everything, do you really care? I don't know. That's an interesting idea at that point. This is the buff that made her NP bonkers? Yeah. That's why I'm like, okay, I didn't realize I still had one more buff to do. Let's go ahead and do this one because it's kind of important. I got Cream Hilled Valentines C, so I'm happy. It's all good. Any quick support that needs stars to pop off isn't going to do much for my Shisho. Yeah, I think with something like that, it would be like the new support paired with like double summer Scotties and then like your damage dealer, right? So like that way they provide some sort of like, hey, if you spend the stars benefit, and these two both provide star bombs and star per turn. And that would be how you would do something like that. See, like, for instance, boom, I'm right here. But I'm also right here because I just threw the star bomb on her. So, it is what it is. Hard sci-fi. Oh yeah, no, I've never heard of it. Thoughts on analog horror on YouTube? Remind me what analog horror is. Is that like just a contained like scenario? I want Melt because I really like Melt. She's a really good single target, and I could use more of those Sakura faces. No. Yeah, sure. I mean, grab Melt then. Let's just do that. She may just kill this outright, did all the quick buffs. Well, you know, Kukulkan Calamity Jane has a star spending skill. Anyone else? Moriarty. Shit, what was the other one I said earlier? Semiramis. VHS found video style. Oh, so like was like the Blair Witch project and stuff like that. I mean, I don't really care because like when it's something like that, you just like I feel like you're cognizant of the fact that it's fake, right? To be fair, that stuff is probably scarier than your average horror movie though. So in that regard, for it being actual horror, I think it probably is the better experience compared to most like Hollywood horror movies at this point are such a like just obvious thing. I just took an alter ego into a pretender. This is not going to go well. Well, actually, it may be fine as long as I play for it. Usually made with older tech, yeah. Yeah, it was similar to how they operated for like Summer 5, right? 25% more tanks edition. I see. I mean, that sounds badass. I do like that FGO and its writers seem to have a firm grasp, though, of like, what's the word I'm looking for here? You know what? We're gonna do that. FGO and its writers seem to have a firm grasp of like narrative concepts and stuff and rules that go into these archetypes of stories. So when they do like a horror story, they know all the rules that a horror story is supposed to follow. Same thing with like a mystery. And so I do actually like where FGO covers these sorts of topics and then actually like describes and explains them because I think it's really good for the reader and I think it actually helps educate. The Jurassic Park analog horror videos on YouTube are pretty good, pretty scary even. Jurassic Park analog horror. I could see that being wild cuz like honestly the like Jurassic Park the movies are not that scary, but I think it's like on purpose cuz they're made for like wide commercial appeal and they're not trying to make them as scary as possible. Hello Marcus. Low budget passion projects. Saw the Blair Witch Project, Paranormal Activity. Paranormal Activity is one that I've never really understood. At least like Blair Witch Project, I think there was like a period in time where like people actually thought it was real. But I think by the time we got to Paranormal Activity, people were just like, yeah, okay, this is just all manufactured. Very compelling stories, yeah. Now it's alter ego against alter ego. God, I have to go that far to find a Summer Scotty that just has the Bond craft essence on. Have you ever seen Event Horizon? Ooh, have I ever seen Event Horizon? I don't think I have. Like, I'm aware of it, but I don't think I've ever seen it. Yeah, it's space horror. 1997. Oh god, that is old. Yeah, I've definitely heard of it then, but I don't think I've ever seen it. I saw it once, too scary. I mean, if you saw it like as a kid or something, I could see that, right? Of all the terms coming out on NS year, which would you say is the most useful or important to an account, new or old? New or old? Castoria. And no, I don't mean Berserker. I mean OG Castoria. I like. You're gonna have to specify a little bit more. You mean a specifically new servant? At that point, I think it's a little bit up in the air, but it's probably Castoria Berserker. Ooh, let's dodge. We don't need eyes to see. I see. If you go into the warp without a Geller field, I see. Wait, why are you pinging me, I? Even as an adult, it's still creepy AF? Yeah, I mean, I don't need to get, like, to watch something that gives me an existential crisis type deal. I mean, new or old account. Yeah. The unit that has the most impact on any account is Castoria. Original Castoria. That's why I said, like, you have to be more specific. Yucking horse is yum, yeah. Hello, Angor. How's it going? Castoria is always the answer? Yeah, and always will be. Oh, I gotcha. Said Servant's coming out on NA this year. True, she's coming out on NA this year. She's just not new. So I said, did you mean new units? And then I said, if it's new units, the answer is Castoria Berserker, probably. But it's up for debate. Not sure if Event Horizon took cues from Warhammer or the other way around. I don't think it really matters. Like, as long as it's a good story, right? I think at the end of the day, there's a lot of stuff that's derivative of other stuff, particularly in like fantasy and fiction. Like again, most modern like fantasy is based off of Tolkien, for instance. And if it's space and sci-fi, a lot of it's based off Dune. Even Star Wars, you could say, is derivative of Dune at this point. So it's like, I don't think it really matters. I think as long as it's a compelling story is really the key factor. Kimba, thank you for the gift, Angor. Appreciate it, my dude. She's come out every year. Yeah, Castoria's had a banner every year since her release. Draco and Castoria Zerk are very close this year, and Tiamat's pretty close behind them. Yep. I think it's like it's difficult to say like, oh, this is the if you only had to roll one unit, what unit do you roll? I don't know, because I don't know what you have, right? Like maybe you already have a really good single target berserker, and then this makes this a little bit muddier. So it's like it's difficult to say. That's why usually these like what if questions, I'm like, I can kind of answer them, but I can't give you a firm answer from the standpoint of it really just all depends. Star Wars is a combination of Flash Gordon and World War II with a little bit of Japanese influence. Yeah, and you know, the sand planet with the gigantic sandworm in the pit. Yeah, it's totally not based off Dune. Also, the whole like Messiah complex thing that they have going on. Yeah, totally not based off Dune. Guess what, chat? Just about every sci-fi is based off Dune at this point. And I know people don't want to hear it, but it is. Like, it doesn't mean that like the other sci-fis are bad or anything like that. It's, if anything, it's like paying homage to it. Like, I think something like the Jedi and their mystical force powers is derivative of, again, the whatchamacallit, the Bene Gesserit and their capability to like control things with the voice and everything. So it's just a very similar concept. Nowhere close to how good the books are. Yeah, I've never read the books, but I've been privy at least to some of it because of not only watching the old Dune movie, but also I played the what was it? The Dune strategy game, the 4X strategy game for Dune back in the day, where you could play as the Harkonnen, the Atreides, the Fremen, or the Emperor. Spice Wars, I think, is the newer one, isn't it? Or was it the old one? I don't freaking remember. Did Star Wars come out first, then Doom? No, not Doom. Dune. With an N. Dune is very old sci-fi at this point. Yeah. Yeah, Dune was written in 1965. And there's older stuff than Dune. Like, still to a large degree, Dune also is derivative of even older stuff. So it's just like Dune kind of was a big popular point that ended up like branching a lot of it out. Arthur, they give you the follow. Dune, yes, Dune. Does it still sound like I'm saying Doom? Doom. I knew it was old, but damn, yep. Didn't Tolkien hate Dune? I don't know. I like Tolkien's much older than Dune, but I think Frank Herbert a little bit like the theme of Dune is like to beware of like a messiah. It's, hey, if you put someone up on a pedestal, that doesn't necessarily mean they're worthy of it. They could still do terrible things. And you don't necessarily realize that until you get like deeper into the books. So like for instance, just with what the movies are going to cover, I don't think they'll ever even necessarily get to that. Like a little bit, but probably not entirely. Tolkien didn't like the negativity of it. Yeah. Tolkien was very much somebody that was like kind of about like hope and like positivity and like trying to do good, right? And Dune was a much more like gritty cautionary tale than anything else. Like honestly, in that regard, you could say that well, on one hand you have like Tolkien and Lord of the Rings. On the other hand, you have like Dune and uh Game of Thrones. They're very much written in a similar way. They're pseudo political dramas that have like a lot of like darkness and edginess to them. Dune had a lot of religious overtones intentionally. Yeah. Yeah. Dune is a hard series to adapt to other media. I don't really think it is, but I think like there's naturally going to be a price tag attached to that sort of thing. I just think it's a lot of it is how do I put it? Like people don't necessarily faithfully adapt it. And I think this is the issue that you have with a lot of these sorts of things. Is like for instance, if you look at like Rings of Power, it's like if you don't faithfully adapt the source material, of course it's going to be bad. Like you didn't follow the story one to one. And you know, naturally when you do adapt something, right? So like let's say you go like book to movie. Well, when you do this, imagine like even just going like book to show, you still have to cut out a bunch of stuff. So going book to movie, now you've really got to cut down on a lot of stuff. So yeah, this is why it's difficult to translate a book into any other sort of medium, because you need to try to adapt as much of it as possible, especially every like important point. And unfortunately with books, a lot of stuff is important because a lot of it is like set up for something later. Like this conversation happened, triggering this person's perception of something, triggering how they act later on, triggering literally the end conclusion of the series. So it's like, oh, if you skip the initial conversation, they don't necessarily have the context and people won't understand why the character did what they did, right? Where did I put the survey link? There it is. Okay. Huh? Ooh. Bro, what? Now I'm just like not finding the survey on their page. It gave me an error because it wanted me to re-log in. Okay, now it's working again. Bro, chat. I don't know what the heck is going on with this thing. Okay. Hey, Dogecam not work? There you go, chat. It did work? Oh, okay. Never mind. No extra Doge cam for you. What the fuck? Books just tell the story much better. I think that's the case with like every series ever. Like the book is always going to go into like more detail. Okay, chat. Let's go over the JP survey. So this is the first one, I think, and you guys can tell me if I'm wrong, but I think this is the first one where we actually go like we actually have to like go through the web portal like on the Aniplex of Japan site, which is definitely nice. I actually like really like that they did this, because this is how like they should be operating all this stuff from now on. Kind of hard to read in that format. Oh, okay, here, let me help. Can you read it now, chat? This is an eye test. Here, does this work for you? Is this easier? Last one also needed it. Did it? I guess. Yeah, it's been long enough that I guess I didn't remember. Like, so we get 4 summon tickets for it. You have until March 3rd, so you guys have plenty of time. Please tell me your age. Uh Aurelia's got some moves. She moved right off the screen. There you go, chat. Don't ask. Please tell me your gender. I'm one of the others. Please tell me your prefecture. Which prefecture is the United States of America? I believe I am considered Tokyo. Just double checking. Yeah, it's Tokyo. Because I think it's the district or whatever is different. Now we're renaming prefectures. Yes. All right. What's your occupation? I'm a full-time housewife, house husband. I wish. Let's see. Company employee / civil servant, company officer, self-employed freelance, elementary or junior high school students, part-time temporary, full-time housewife, and unemployed and others. Bro, I want to know how many people check this. I really want to know how many people check the unemployed. Please tell us how much time you spend using your smartphone or tablet per day on weekdays and holidays for purposes other than work or school, aka playing. On weekdays for purposes other than school or work. I mean, it's probably there. Like, I mean, shit, like just from stream alone, that covers several of those hours. That's weekdays. And then holidays? Holidays is definitely less. Holidays, it's like 1 to 2 hours at worst. How much time you use a PC? It's happening, chat! It's happening! Oh my god! I can't believe this is the first time I've ever seen this question. I mean, they may have asked before, but like I don't ever remember seeing them asking about PC. So yeah, I hope. Listen, you can say copied Genshin all you want. I don't give a fuck as long as like we do it because it's such a good idea. But yeah, they really should. They really should do a PC client. However, the way you're going to do a PC client is by having an actual login. So NA, what the fuck are you doing? Aniplex of America, give us the website already. Good God. I know it takes time. I know it's not easy, but y'all slacking at this point. Whoever's in charge of that shit needs a swift kick in the pants. Like, holy crap. All right. How much do you use PC per weekdays and holidays other than for work or school? Boom. I mean, yeah, no, it's still that. Holidays, PC use. I think this really depends on the holiday. I'm going to say it's like maybe 2 to 3 hours. How much do you spend on hobbies per month? Oh, bro, you gonna ask me that? How much of that do you spend on smartphone games? Well, let's see. What's the current value of the yen? One yen is equal to 65 hundredths of a cent. So at 100,000 yen, it's equal to $650. Amount spent on hobbies. Did they say per week? No, per month. $650 per. Probably somewhere in this range. This month, definitely over 100,000. Yeah, I mean, you're not wrong. Of that amount, the amount spent on smartphone games. Let's put a higher number. Honestly, I don't spend on hobbies per month. No, the hobbies is probably somewhere in like this range, maybe this range. I don't know. And then I think I could say like smartphone is like that much. Smartphone is like the vast majority of it. Please select all media and services that you regularly use. Right? Yep. I like, dude, the fact that there's no official Discord for this game is so trash. I really, really want them to do an official Discord just to kind of take the wind out of the sails of the quote unquote Reddit cord that, again, for years has been touting themselves as like pseudo official. They're not even in the slightest. And there's a whole bunch of egos and stuff involved in that just makes me want to see it get knocked down a peg. So yeah. Let's see. Blah 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 blah. I really like don't use TikTok. I obviously watch the occasional TikTok, but I can't say that like I regularly use it. I don't even know what Mixi is. I definitely don't use Blue Sky. In fact, I don't really know anybody even talking about Blue Sky anymore. Threads? God, that's a blast from the past. I assume Threads is just actually dead at this point. And I guess like other social networks I can check on, but video distribution and sharing services, I definitely use YouTube. Nico Video, no. Amazon Prime Video, do I regularly use it? I think I can say yes to this, but it's not regular. It's just kind of regular. Now this is funny because I canceled. I don't remember if I told chat this, but I canceled my Netflix subscription because they announced that they were going to increase the price of Netflix for like the second time, like the second year in a row. And I was like, nope, you can go get fucked. I'll just pirate your stuff. I'm tired of like paying for basically no value at all. So I just canceled it and said to hell with it. I've already watched just about everything I want to watch on there. So maybe when they start adding actual stuff that I care about, then I'll resubscribe. Disney Plus apparently lost 700,000 subscribers in this last quarter. So I don't think things going too hot for them at this point. I used to use Hulu way back in the day, but I don't use it anymore. I think it's just going to be this other. I literally canceled mine too. Yeah, it's like it's getting too much, and the fact that they keep trying to like shove ads and stuff now just makes me go like, no. YouTube Live, Twitch. They realize Twitch exists. Chad, I think I need to use twit casting at some point. Game related services. App Media. Interesting. I'm going to say other gaming related sites. Because remember, this is for JP, so they're not going to ask you about like fandom. Because I don't think any of the Japanese players use fandom. Ebook services and manga apps. Nope. Music apps and services. Nope. Like, bro, I like YouTube Music. What even is that? I just watch shit on YouTube that may or may not be music. But like, I don't even use Spotify anymore because I got tired of my Spotify account constantly getting hacked. So I just deleted it. Become a novelist. So obviously there's going to be some translation issues with some of this, so I just choose not to pay too close attention to that. All right, we're 20% of the way done. For those of you that answered YouTube, here's a question. What kind of videos and features on YouTube do you get information about games from? Real-time viewing of official game maker and title broadcasts. I sometimes do. Real-time viewing of commentator individual live broadcasts. Yeah, I sometimes do for FGO. Videos posted by game makers' titles, including archives. Yep. Commentators' individuals posted videos, including archives. You know, I'm not sure at this point what they mean by commentators. Are they meaning like a content creator? I think they are. All right, sweet. So you know what I'm gonna do? Chat. The true answer here. So let's answer how the actual truth right now. So yes, I watched that community post from the official game maker account. Sure. Commentators individual community posts. Yes. Shorts posted by the official game maker account. No, I can't say I've ever seen a video game official account produce shorts. They usually just put out a normal video. Commentators individual short submissions. This I have. Hardware manufacturer information announcement videos, Nintendo Direct, State of Play, Xbox Game Showcase. Sure. So this is the true answer. Now behold, chat. As I uncheck the two that are official game maker. Why am I doing this? I do watch these. I'm unchecking it because I'm trying to put pressure on them. I want them to realize this is such an important thing. And so I'm unchecking to make it seem like I don't watch their official shit. I only watch content creators. That's what I want them to think, because holy crap, Aniplex needs to pull their head out of their ass and actually start supporting content creators like every other video game does at this point. I cannot imagine why they still think this is a good idea to just completely ignore the content creation sphere unless they're angry and want to DMCA people. Please tell us what home game consoles and PCs you currently own. Okay. So, PlayStation 5, PlayStation 4. You know what? No, I'm unchecking the PlayStation 4. So I own a PlayStation 4. However, I'm tired of them constantly launching shit for like the PS4 because that's what they actually built the game on and optimized it for. I'm fine with stuff being available on the PlayStation 4. What I don't like is that they keep releasing PlayStation 4 games and not PlayStation 5 games. That is to say, it's developed for and on the PlayStation 4, and you're just trying to basically upscale it to the 5 rather than it being the other way around. This is a problem, I think, for Fate when it comes to video games. Most of their video games aren't AAA quality caliber at this point. I really liked Samurai Remnant, but Samurai Remnant was just the best of the Muso games that they've released. They need to start developing more than just Muso games for Fate. It's really sad, and I feel like they're totally screwing themselves by not doing so. Allow me, chat. This is actually insane, but let me go pull it up. And I don't know how many of you guys know this. Give me a second. It's going to take me a second to actually get to it. Yeah, okay, here we go. Why is this so loud? I don't know why, but this song is really loud all of a sudden. Okay. So chat, I don't know how many of you guys knew this. But behold. Anyone know what this website is? This is the 15th anniversary website from back in 2020. Which Ooh, that means we're coming up on the 20th anniversary. Interesting. Anyways, this was the 15th anniversary for Fate Stay Night. And they put out a website congratulating them and everything and like doing this. They had Brain. They had Takeuchi do a bunch of like fantastic art for it. But they also put up congratulatory messages. And this is an interesting thing because there's a ton of messages here. And you might be surprised at some of the people that are actually here. So the first ones are the VAs. But then you have, again, like the director of Atlas, Aniplex, Vanillaware, Kadokawa, Good Smile, a novelist that's worked for them, Square Enix, Studio Dean. But there's a really fucking interesting one here. A really fucking interesting congratulatory message. Because this man grew up playing the Fate games, the Fate visual novels, and he loves them. And he actually has admitted that they influenced him in his design for his games. So if you guys were playing through Elden Ring and you noticed some similarities to Fate and some of the things in Fate, that's not a coincidence. That's because Miyazaki loves Fate. Like literally, Lena in Shadow of the Erd Tree is derivative of Saber. It is a thing on purpose. The fact that we haven't cashed in on this, the fact that Nasu hasn't gone up to Miyazaki and said, like, yo, bro, you like my shit. I like your shit. What if I'm your J.R.R. Martin, right? Like, and I write the story for your next Souls-like game. Is just like wild to me. These two love each other's products and they have never collabed. And I'm like, why? It's such a like easy win. Bloodborne takes things from Tsukihime? Yeah, 100%. So it's like, I'm really surprised that we haven't gotten a Fate Souls-like. Because it's wild to me at how much they both glaze each other. They love each other's products. Like, again, Nasu's always talking about how he wants to take off to play Dark Souls. So it's like, I'm surprised they haven't actually cashed in on this. Stop, like, trying to do your little in-house projects and go get an actual critically acclaimed developer that has won Game of the Year multiple times now to develop your next game. That is a home run. That is how you put Fate back on the map. Similar to having UFO Table do any of your anime series, getting Miyazaki to develop your next video game is an instant I win button at this point. So it's like, it's just wild to me that they haven't done it. But yeah, that's the thing. So when it comes to video games, it's like I said, I like Samurai Remnant, but holy crap, Fate can step it up. Because even as much as I like Samurai Remnant, it's still a relatively rudimentary game. And I'm not talking about the combat. I'm talking about everything in between the combat. It doesn't really feel like they pushed the envelope with. Aren't some of the Fate games like Dynasty Warriors playstyle? That's Muso. So if you hear me calling a game a Muso game, that's a Dynasty Warriors style game. And that is unfortunately like all the Fate games basically are nowadays, because some of the older ones have never really seen newer iterations. Like we had things like Unlimited Codes and stuff that were basically a pseudo fighting game, but we haven't really had anything newer than that. Fate should just copy the Atlas template. So funny you say Atlas, because you saw one of the very first congratulatory letters was from Atlas. So it's like, yeah, you could do another one right there. Get Atlas instead of making Metaphor 2 to make, you know, literally a Fate version of one of their JRPGs. Boom, there you go. And people would fucking eat that up. Like, do it in the typical Atlas art style. Let Nasu write the story. Match made in heaven. People would go ape shit for it. So it's like, I don't understand. Like, he's super connected, and I'm like, bro, please just like try to get one of your friends to work with you. Because again, I feel like it'd be super good for them to do it. What the heck is Studio BB doing by this point? Right, and that's like, honestly, Samurai Remnant is the best game that they have made in recent memory, and I think it's obvious why. It's a game that they actually relied on an external studio that is known for good products. So it's like, yeah, I think that's a showing that, hey, Type Moon is really busy and doesn't necessarily have the time to do all of the developmental work themselves. They just need to act as an advisor to an actual AAA dev making the product. And I think that's the best thing that they can do. So they write the story, they let the dev handle all the game development side of things, though. Extra Record was announced in what, like 2019, almost 6 years now? Yeah, so I don't know. They definitely got to get off their ass and do it. But I've been talking about this for a while, that like Fate needs a win, like the IP itself, because I think unfortunately at this point, you know, obviously our generation, like the millennials and stuff, and even I think the tail end of the Zoomers, or sorry, the like beginning of the Zoomers, have heard of Fate and like Fate. But I think the younger Zoomers and now even like the youngest generation have either just never heard of Fate, or anything that they have heard has been bad. So I think it's like Fate needs a new hit anime, Fate needs a new AAA game, and I think if we get those, it'll put Fate back on the map and it'll really help the popularity of this IP. And I think it can get those. But like I look at something like Strange Fake and I look at the release schedule that they're trying with Strange Fake, whatever the fuck it is, if you can even call it a release schedule, and I go like, you're just screwing the pooch at this point. Like I don't understand how things are kind of going, in the sense that it feels like everything just keeps falling apart right in front of our eyes, and they need to do a better job of it. Are we accounting Sam Rim being a development as far back as Vegas Summer? So year 4 of FGO? No. Why would I need to account for any of that? Fate is not a back burner IP, no. Right, that's what I'm saying. Like, Fate needs to actually, like, kind of flex its muscle a little bit again and put something out there. Because I think there are a ton of people interested in this IP in Japan alone. Like, even if we don't talk about, like, the greater global audience and stuff, Japan alone, if you did a collab between Atlas and Nasu, or between FromSoft and Nasu, it would immediately just like light everyone up. Everyone would be like, "Oh my god, this is a thing. It's happening." Like, and it would be the talk of the town for a while. Never used in any media ever, right? Okay, so let's keep going. I don't have a VR headset. I do have a Nintendo Switch. This is going to be an interesting one. Xbox Series X and S I don't have. I don't have a Steam Deck. I do have a Windows PC. I'm just going to say this. Please keep putting more games on Steam. There we go. Please list all the methods you have used to purchase games within the past year. Okay, I gotta think about this. I definitely haven't purchased one on Amazon. I definitely haven't purchased one on an e-commerce site other than Amazon. I definitely haven't purchased one on DL site. I definitely haven't purchased one on DNM. Definitely not the Epic Game Store. I have not purchased anything on the Microsoft Store. I have certainly played games when I had the Game Pass for free. Have I purchased something on the PlayStation Store in the last year? I feel like the answer to that is yes, but I don't remember what. The only reason to have Epic is for the free game every week. Listen, this is going to sound awful, but that's exactly why I don't have Epic. You can't bribe me to get on their shit service. And I would 10 times rather pay for a game than get it for free. I'd rather support the game than ever like get on Epic service. It'd probably be an FGO major player base increase, right? Yeah, I'm just trying to think like if I purchased anything in the last year. Let me double check real fast. Bro, I'm not buying Civ 7 for PlayStation. What the shit? Hold on, chat. Oh yeah, I bought Stellar Blade. And I think Final Fantasy VII Rebirth. So I did. I did buy some on the PlayStation Store. Steam, definitely. I have purchased something in the Nintendo eShop. I have not done Xbox Game Pass. And chat, I'm going to say, unless you want their products to appear on these two, don't check it. So, I mean, maybe some of you guys want to pay for a subscription service, but I sure as fuck don't. I have not purchased a single game in a retail store in the last year. So now we're going to uncheck those two. And I'm going to say that Steam is the only answer. Is it double R? Character limit exceeded. Okay. Which app other than Fate Grand Order you have played for more than a month in the last 6 months? Arknights, nope. Identity V, I have no idea what that is. I've never even heard of that. Azure Lane, nope. Ensemble Stars, nope. eFootball, nope. Infinity Nikki, nope. Uma Musume, nope. I keep seeing people trying to glaze Uma Musume coming out here soon. I don't really give two shits about it. Only I Level Up Arise, never heard of it. School Idolmaster, Mushroom Legend, Grand Blue Fantasy, Genshin Impact, Love and the Deep Sky, Knives Out, Call of Duty Mobile. Ah, yes. Call of Duty. No. Compass Battle Analysis System, Mahjong Soul, Jujutsu Kaisen Fantasy or Phantom Parade. God, of course they're trying to milk Jujutsu Kaisen. There's not even that many characters yet to make a gacha game out of. What the shit, people? Goddess of Victory, White Cat Project, ZZZ, Disney's Twisted Wonderland, Dolls Frontline 2. So this is Girls Frontline 2, but they changed the name. Did I play it for a month? I think I did. I think I can basically say that. And that's it. I don't play any other titles. Please tell us the home video games and PC games you have played within the past year. Elden Ring. Hear me out, chat. This is my psyop. I've certainly played more than Elden Ring. I've certainly played a ton of other stuff. But I'm only going to answer Elden Ring. Just so that they actually think about that. You know what? I'm even going to add this in. Please collaborate with Miyazaki-san. Please select all that apply to what you are looking for in a smartphone game. Yes, I want stress relief. I want to feel a sense of accomplishment. I want to be excited. I mean, I don't want to use my head. I want to escape from everyday life. I want to feel refreshed. I want to be healed. I need that sexual healing is what I need. I want to kill time. So I'm not going to answer this because I don't want my time wasted. Again, if you're somebody that has a buttload of time on your hands and you want to spend all the time you can playing FGO, then you can answer this one. But for me, I don't want my time wasted. I'm fine with the current status of the game and like how much time it takes up. If it starts to take up too much time, that'll become a problem. So I really don't want them to go beyond how they already operate. Go with family, friends, and colleagues. I think this is fine. Because again, this could be like co-op is a way to think about this. You got to think about like what each of these would apply to in terms of like what is this that they would implement in order to fulfill this. So I want to win the competition. Don't answer this unless you want leaderboards, player ladders, and rankings and PvP and stuff like that. I want to immerse myself in the story. I want to interact with other players in the game. I think this is fine. I want to feel the excitement. Sure. I'm not sure how that's different from I want to be excited, but, you know, Google Translate. So I want to enjoy the strategy of the game. You can definitely do this. I'm going to check it off, but like if you're someone that maybe doesn't want like challenge content in the game, I could say like, yeah, maybe don't check this. I want to have a simulated experience. I'm not sure what this one is. I think this is just like maybe like I want it to be immersive. I don't know. I think when in doubt, just don't check it off. I want to be moved. I assume this is like emotions. I want to express myself. Sure. I want to feel superior. So this is another interesting one. I'm going to say this could lead to like, hey, kind of like the competition one where it's like PvP and like competing against other players. This I want to feel superior could be interpreted that way, but I'm not sure. It may come down to the actual like kanji that they used. I want to be surprised. Sure. I want to experience the charm of the characters. Yes. I want to be a resident of that world. I would never check this off for Warhammer. I want to enjoy trendy things. I think this one's also important because this tells them, hey, I would like your game to be like other games. So I think this is also a good idea. And then like anything else that you feel free to add, but I think that covers most of that. How do you normally get information about smartphone games? Game apps that please select all. Okay, game apps that can be played on iPhone, iPad, and Android. How do I normally get my info? Social media, Line. No, I don't use Line. Timeline and official account, sure. Social media, Discord. Social media, other. YouTube game commentary. Live broadcast. Twitch. So you guys can see, like, there's the truthful answers, and then there's how I'm going to answer the survey because it's how I want them to perform. So it's like, I could answer more of these to some degree, but I'm not going to. Web game strategy and review site. Game-related information site. Don't really use bulletin boards. I don't like... I'm sorry, but if you get your information from an app store ranking in the app store, what the fuck are you doing? Game-related informations, magazines, no. I mean, like, we get Famitsu in the game, but I can't really say that, like, I read Famitsu. We just go to look at it for, like, the one time that they do the interview in Famitsu. I could say this, because I think it's true. I think word of mouth is really strong. When you watch official live game broadcasts or programs, how do you usually watch them? I have to watch it in real time while it's being broadcast. I sometimes watch in real time, but I often watch archives. Watch archive only. Okay, chat. 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 You can only select one of these. Allow me. This is the one you need to select. Right here. What does this answer do? This tells them that you still watch it in real time sometimes. So, in other words, keep doing your live broadcasts, don't just ditch them. But I often watch archives. This tells them that you want the archive of the live stream, which is actually a good thing because apparently my understanding is a lot of the live streams, they don't archive after the fact. They kind of lock it and make the video go bye-bye. So I think they need to change that. I think that's really fucking stupid how they do that. And I think this is the better answer. Otherwise, the truth here is actually this one. I almost never watch archives, but I don't like the fact that they have the archives locked down for when you would want to reference them for any way, shape, or form. So, yeah, they need to actually start doing archives. And you could answer this if that's what you wanted, but I think this basically tells them, hey, stop doing live streams. We only want to watch a pre-recorded video, which isn't true. So I think like I'm going to go with the middle option there. Please select it all that apply to what prompted you to download a smartphone game. Found out through X. Found out on Discord. So you could answer like, hey, if you want more TV commercials, you could say this. I don't really care if they run TV commercials or not, but it's more of a thing over in Japan than it is here. The advertisement in magazines? No. I think watch family, friends, and colleagues playing is a thing. I like the anime and manga on which it's based. She got the pre-registration campaign. Oh, so this is it. There you go. It started with influencers such as VTubers and YouTubers. Now I'm going to uncheck all of these. Because they put this line in here, this is literally the only line I'm going to respond with. It's not the truth, but again, I'm trying to create that pressure so that, dear God, they actually start to realize this is a much bigger thing than they think, and they actually start to lean into it. Because the fact that they're not is just wild to me at this point. Please start investing in content creators. I mean, this is like me scratching my own back when I say that, but you can't blame me, chat. Why did you start playing Fate Grand Order? I always love the Fate series. Saw it being talked about on X. My family, friends, and colleagues are playing. Watch official live broadcasts. It all started with influence. There you go. I get to switch to that again. So I believe in the past that I've put in lines about art because, chat, I shit you not. The story of how I began to play Fate Grand Order was I saw a very NSFW artwork of Lartoria. So, at the end of the day, art is a very important thing. So in the past, I've answered art, but this is the first time that response, the influencers line, has ever been on here. So we're gonna go with that. When did you start playing Fate Grand Order? Let's see, what time would this be? Be right here. because I didn't start playing JP until I think it was like year 3. But basically, I started playing NA. I think it was like October of 2017. From what media do you normally get information? Okay. Wait, hold on. Let's just scroll down. All right, I'm not seeing that. Okay. So X notices from the management both on the official website and in the game. I mean, I really don't look at the official website, but sure, I do get it sometimes from in game. Chat, I don't actually ever get a damn thing from this, but I'm still checking it off because this is a good thing that they do, and they need to keep doing it. I don't know that I care about either of these. Like, I obviously like Rio's art style. I think we'll check learning through manga, but I wasn't even aware that they were producing videos for this. And I think it's like they are, but they're extremely rudimentary videos being like, this is what an arts card does. And they don't even give you numbers or anything. It's like it generates noble phantasm. Like, yeah, I don't give two shits about the videos. Smart News Fate Grand Order channel? Never heard of it. Line account, TikTok account. Nope. They do have an official TikTok account now, which is pretty interesting. Other than official accounts, this is true. Discord. YouTube. Live broadcasts other than the official live broadcast. A news site specializing in game information. This is actually not true. I never get information from a site. Like it's always I go to the site after finding out from other places. Twitch. So I'm putting this in here because, chat, if you ever go and you watch something on Twitch, right? Like, you'll notice how, like, certain games have, how do I put this? Like, certain games have, like, drops and stuff on Twitch. I think FGO could really benefit from that because here's the deal, okay? Do you know how drops work? Chat, drops literally don't I don't give two shits about what they give. But drops raise awareness for a game and increase the odds of a person checking out a game. That's why drops are important. Because it's a way to not only get your community engaged and, yeah, basically bribe them for attention, but it's also a way to make somebody that doesn't play the game aware of the game. And FGO at this point has a huge issue for that. The awareness over here in the West, probably at an all-time low. Most people basically haven't heard of it. So at this point, I think they really need to start looking into how can they expand globally rather than like in Japan, because Japan is relatively saturated for them already. They need to start actually investing in kind of growth overseas. And if they do that, it will really help them, I think. It'll also help combat some of the poor reputation that the game has. So they really need to start doing that. And I think you can start off with just giving away like drops and stuff like that on Twitch. It would be really, really smart of them to do that. What would the drops be? I mean, it could be something as stupid as like you get like a golden ticket for watching on Twitch, and you know if there's any sort of currency attached, people would do it. It doesn't matter. You could give away commemorative craft essence. You could do like all sorts of stuff. What are your 3 favorite works in the Fate series? How do I click this 3 times? No, I'm just kidding. Hmm. Really want to check this, but I'm really worried that if I check this, they're going to make another damn Muso game. I'm going to check it because I want to support like them making video games. But every fiber of my being is telling me not to. And yeah, I just did that. There's Rialta Nua right there for PC, PS2, Vita, smartphone version. But yeah, I just checked the OG Fate Stay Night. You know what? No, let's give him Rialta Nua. This will incentivize PC. Oh, wait. Is it 3 across all? Oh my god. Okay, never mind. Hold this thought. That's fucking rough. We're gonna say this and this, and then I'm gonna say this, chat. You know why I'm saying this. You know why. You know why. Give me a new version now. I don't know if it'll let me do this, but I'll try. I don't want to say remaster. You know what? No. I'm not asking. I'm not asking, chat. How often do you play Fate Grand Order? Less frequent. I like how you can't say every day, because that would be an addiction. You can only say almost every day. How many hours do you play Fate Grand Order in a day? I mean, honestly, I think the reality is somewhere in like one of these two. But yeah, I'm just checking that just to check that. Your favorite chapter in the main quest of Fate Grand Order? Ooh, from part 1 to part 1.5. And I can only pick one, can't I? Yes. Well, then it's easy. Because it's right there, bitches. I'm biased and I don't care. I'm allowed to be biased on this. For part 2 and onwards. Oh man, this is rough. I have recency bias for LB7, but I'm like, trying to debate, do I like LB6 or LB7 more? I think it is 7. I actually think it. I have too many issues with 6. I want 6 to be the best one, but I have too many issues with 6. My issues with 7 are that like I don't like some of the characters, but not because like they were written poorly. I don't like the characters because they were written well. Like I like low key hate some of them, and that's a good thing. It means that they were extremely well written and handled well. 6, I have issues with what it does to the lore, and I think that really is just something that I can't jive with, and I don't think I ever will be able to. No matter what, I'm always going to say that I have an issue with 6. So at that point, yeah, I think it's got to be Lost Belt 7. How do you feel about the story of Fate Grand Order? Please select all that apply. Scenario is more interesting than expected. Yeah, I still think this. Like, I mean, like, you could just be blasé and say it's as interesting as expected. I think we do expect it to be interesting, but I think I'm always surprised at like the depth to which they went, and I think I was really surprised about LB7 in that regard. There are a lot of scenarios. There are a few scenarios. That's yeah. I'm sorry. This is the truth. There's too little story. And I don't mean that like, oh, LB7 was too short. No, I mean we don't get LB7 often enough. That's my biggest issue. I want more scenarios. Okay. You can only type so much, and because it's Japanese, this is barely any room. How do you feel about the battles in Fate Grand Order? Please select all that apply. Difficulties of battles is just right. Like, again, I think your challenge crowd is going to go with this, and I'm just going to say no. Like, they need to stop, like, actually doing some of the, like, bloaty stuff that they do. But I don't think that that's, like, that crazy. This is a rough set. On one hand, battles are really fast. On the other hand, battles can take a long fucking time. I think for the most part, especially as we've gotten away from the super recos, I'm okay with this. Battles take less time. Okay, so battle action is slow, battle movements are smooth, the battles are exhilarating. This is another 3 set. I mean, I'm okay with that hentai, man. I assume this is more like the animations. And honestly, the battles are exhilarating. So I don't have any issues with that. There's a sense of accomplishment in battle. Feel the thrill of battle. Battles are linked to the story, making them immersive. Battles are tedious. Battles are boring. Battles feel like a chore. God, I feel like I could check all of this. I like that battles are linked to the story. Ooh. I have to check this. I'm sorry, chat, but some of the challenge fights in the game, some of the challenge fights are fucking stupid. Like, they are a college thesis worth of effects rather than a simple but effective challenge. And I really just think that they feel like a chore at times. I think this is like way too much. I should not have to like go on a guide site and read what everything does, read what all the break bar effects are in order to properly kit out for the fight. And I get it. I think what they want you to do is they want you to go in, fail it, and come back and do it again. But I don't want to spend that time, so I don't bother to do that. So I think that's where it's like, yeah, I think, you know what? Well, I was gonna say, I guess I could call that tedious, but it's difficult because like I can't describe any of this in just the 50 characters. It's such a like rough thing. Like filling out this survey on NA will be easier because you'll have more room to type. But Japanese, you can get a lot done with very few characters, and so it's like I can't say a whole lot here because I'm typing in English. Also, stop doing force supports. I'm okay with force supports, but they do need to stop doing it so much, right? Like it was way too much in LB7. But I think it's like it's a-okay to have force supports every now and then, right? Like I think it's like there's a balance to it, and they just need to reach that. I think this is where like I come across on these is like moderation is key in all of this stuff. If you do it too much, it's way too overbearing. And this is where, like, again, I do think a lot of the challenge fights have been like this. But not all of them are. Some of them are very straightforward. And I'm not saying, like, every fight needs to just be a, like, LOL, load up Musashi, Berserker, and 3-turn it. But I do think some of them are, like, way too, like, over the top with their gimmicks. Where it's like, oh, if you do this, it activates this. If you do this, it activates this. And actually, this will chain into this and this and this and this and this and this and this. And then there's a break bar effect that does this and this and this and this and this. And then now you have to fight the second break bar as this and this and this and this. Like, no, dude, I freaking hate it. Like that's way too much at that point. I'm a-okay with there being a challenge, but there are ways to do challenges that are simultaneously simple but effective. And so I want to see more of that and less of a like I've got to jump through 50 different hula hoops in order to defeat the battle. They actually had 10 force support, it wouldn't be nearly as bothersome. IMO. Do agree with that. Okay, how do you feel about the number of servants implemented in Fate Grand Order? Oh boy, this is a rough question. So, chat, do you want more units in FGO? Like, do you feel the pace of unit release is just right, or do you want it to slow down do you want it to trend even and kind of be the same? Like, do you want it to increase? Do you want it to slow down, or do you want it to be the same? I think it's just right. I think if they start doing too much, this game is going to start to suffer from even more power creep. So it's like, I think the way it is, it's okay. Buff older banners as you bring out banners again. Yeah. A little low. I can agree to this. I can agree to this because they did slow down the rate of events. So I'll agree with that. Please choose one of the servants implemented in Fate Grand Order. I'm looking forward to the implementation. Okay, this is rough. I before in the past have said, like, the problem with this is that for years they started to ignore this. They started to just absolutely ignore this and just dump everything. So to me, this is the best. But last year, I actually did answer this because it's the truth of the matter. They went so hard into every servant being a new character that for a long period in time, like I said, we just didn't get any nostalgia. You didn't get any references back to old characters other than at like summer. And I think that's a problem because, like, again, I keep using like Nito Ultra as the example of this, of how like you can come out with some of the, like, a different version of some of the fan favorites and people will love it. So it's like in the past, on the prior year, I answered that. I think I'm okay. I think I'll answer this, but this is the truth. Like, I want to see both new servants and new aspects of existing ones. When using servant pickup summon, please choose one thing that you are particularly concerned about. Servant pickup summon. So I guess they're meaning whenever you're gotching, please choose something that you're concerned about. I hate that there's no like other that I can type in here, because I know exactly what I do. And I want to say, this is how it was the year before. This is a fuck up. This is an actual survey fuck up. Like, I don't need to necessarily explain every single one of these, but the fact that they don't give you any line to explain why or any other thing that's not covered here is wild to me. Because you can work with your own formation. I assume this means a character that operates under their own power and doesn't necessarily need... Like, it could mean a solo character, or it could mean a character that's just relatively self-efficient. So, like, or self-sufficient. So, like, say, for instance, you could say, like, Tyra, who you could say is, like, a solo artist. Or you could say someone like, say, Lancelot, who is just an extremely self-sufficient character. So I'm not really sure what they're going with here, but I actually don't give two shits about that first one, because the servant's abilities are high. Chat. Chat. I just want to say this. I hate any one of you that answers this. I hate any one of you that answers this. Because this is why the power creep has gotten bad. This is why you get a unit come into the game like Oberon, and Oberon just dramatically increases the overall damage output of the game. I get it, people like strong units, but if this is the only reason that you're rolling, you're dooming yourself to constantly just insane power creep and always having to roll meta and being a meta slave. So, yeah, just do me the favor, don't answer that one. Like, again, I think we all want our favorite servants to be strong, but God, that is not the reason that I roll. I want to increase my noble phantasm level. I mean, I also don't want to answer this one because while I do want to increase my noble phantasm level for some of my favorites, this is not the reason I normally roll. And I think this also gives them the idea that, like, you know, like that NP6 debacle and things like that. Just, yeah, no, I really don't want to. Because I like the voice, the visuals, and the settings. True. Absolutely true. The actual answer. Because it's a hot topic amongst my friends, chat, please also don't answer this. If you answer this, god damn, you gave into peer pressure. Like, holy shit. It's you're only rolling because all of your friends rolled too. That's all that is. So don't do that. Pickup summons have been added. This is the whale answer. This is the this is the Ash Ketchum gotta catch 'em all. It's like literally, oh, you added a new summon, therefore I roll. Which that's also just saying that they now have a license to print money with you. So yeah, no, this is the real one. This is the one that I want to see really emphasized by the developers because I think it matters the most. None of the rest of these actually matter to me. I mean, obviously, to an extent, I do want the gameplay of the servant to be good, but it's 100% this. And I've rolled on many a unit that was not meta just because I liked them and thought they were hot. Please provide more. Oh, okay. Never mind. I take back what I said. I take back, chat. I did not see that they were asking. Okay, so that's on me. Though, to be fair, this is the first time they've done this in the entire survey so far. Noble Phantasm has special attack and would be useful in the content I wanted to clear. My favorite voice actor was in charge. My favorite illustrator drew it. The servant was announced at FES. I had decided to draw a servant in a swimsuit costume. How did they know? How did they know that it was me, chat? It was me all along. I roll because I like the characters, yeah. Okay, now, behold, chat. I like Artoria. I also like hot. No, how do I say this? How do I say this in a way that they'll understand? Mature women. There you go, chat. You have to use the forbidden word. Otherwise, they won't know true. I also like sexy, mature women. There you go. All right. I added the forbidden word for you. What was the best in-game event that Fate Grand Order held in 2024? Ooh. Okay. So the Samurai Remnant event, the Valentines event, CBC, Maho no Tsukai, Maho Tsukai no Yoru, which was the collab for Witch and the Holy Night. Chaldea's Summer Adventure. God, like I really did like the summer event, but they really fucked up the pacing of that event. Like it wasn't a bad idea, it was just poorly executed. Okay, so chat, you could answer this if you want to see more collabs. Sorry, not collabs. More reruns. Oh, sorry. Yeah, this was the rerun. This was the actual summer event. Very Sugoroku, I didn't care too much about. Destroy Mystery House Crafters, Star Miners, and Wings of Sunrise. Why am I drawing a blank on that? Van Gogh. Yeah, that's the Van Gogh mining event. Okay. The Christmas event. I mean, I liked the theme of this event, but a 7-day event is not going to get my vote. Like, especially when they hard fucked up all the messaging of the raids and all the issues that they had with it. That's a big nope from me. So yeah, I think this is the true answer is right here. It's Mahosukai. Like the Witch on the Holy Night collab was their best event by far. It gave me K and K vibes to a large degree, and you could tell they put their heart and soul into it. And they actually talked about that in a couple interviews, like just how much effort went into that collab event. So yeah, I think that was the best event that they ran last year, which is wild because normally I'm a sucker for answering like the summer event, but no, this one I think they whiffed on the summer event this year. 7-day event in 2024. What? Yep. What was the best thing about the event you chose the best one? Okay, I can answer more. So I don't want to answer this because the truth of the matter is I think the stories in FGO are getting too serious. And people argue with me on this all the time, but I think everything in FGO now is having to tie back to the main story directly. I think everything is having to be like lore driven and like really like over the top. And I feel like the relaxed atmosphere and the jovial atmosphere is mostly gone from a lot of these events. So I think they're getting too over the top with it. And I talked about this before, like, because I've talked about how some of the designs in FGO over the years have kind of changed. Where if you go back to like year one designs are intentionally sexy. Where like you can sit there and you can see that they have like just revealing parts of clothing and stuff. And I'm not talking like it's like over the top like Nikkei or anything like that. Just that like you can tell they really tried to make the characters appealing and really sell themselves. Whereas like now with some of the newer characters, it's not that they're not sexy. It's that it's toned down a lot and it really feels like they're trying to make everything as close to like reality and how it actually was comparatively. I do think they did a better job this year with that. However, I think that comes from the fact that so many of those events this year were collab events and reruns that harkened back to their old animation and design philosophies. So they were using characters that they designed originally to sell well, rather than some of these newer characters where they're trying to like do the best job with the character that they can. And what's the difference there? Well, back then, they really wanted to sell that character. Now they know the game is profitable and successful, so they're not trying to sell the character as much. So they're now going more with their interpretation of the unit rather than what will actually like what will the community really like. So I think that consideration is kind of getting toned down in favor of doing what the writers and the artists want to do. And I think it's not good for the game long term. I think they're kind of forgetting to sell and market the game, and they're just kind of hoping that the brand sells itself. And they can do that, but I think it's like they need to go back to, hey, let's actually make the characters appealing in a lot of ways. And hello, Gotcha Gurus, how's it going? Summer event was just story slammed together. Yeah, 100%. So it's like, because of that, I think you had the same issue with story and events. I think instead of making the events as entertaining as possible, they're now making the events as story centric as possible because it's what they want to do. And I'm not going to say it makes the event bad, but I am going to say that like the game is losing some of that like jovial nature that it really felt like it used to have a lot. So I don't really know, right? Like I kind of want them to go back to that. So you know what, I actually don't know if the Witch and the Holy Night event had a bright and like jovial storyline, but I'll just go ahead and say that. Glad the story delved into my favorite characters. I mean, I can't say that they're my favorite characters, but this is something that I want stories to do. So I guess I'll check it. I was able to learn more about the world setting. Yeah, I think that's good. The unique gimmicks and systems of the event were interesting. Yes, this is also a good thing to have. The distributed servants were good. Ooh, this is a loaded word because does it mean like design or does it mean gameplay? Sure. Reinforcement materials were obtained. Yes, they were. I was able to get the costume unlocking rights. I don't even think there's a costume in the event, but I'm literally just gonna check all of these. I checked what I want an event to have. What new features were added in 2024 that you felt were good or convenient? Please choose 3 that apply from the following. So this is stupid. Because if you want my actual feedback as to what's good and convenient, limiting my responses doesn't help. It doesn't get you the feedback that you're seeking. Because I may choose none of these. I may wish to choose all of these. Added a display for secondary attributes. Heaven, Earth, Man, Star. God, yes. Modified the automatic formation so that you can choose between 2 types of automatic formation tendency. I don't care. I gotta be honest. I don't think that does much for me. And the limited time pickup summon, the appearance rate of 4 stars has been increased when there are 2 of them. Oh, fuck. You can't get me not to pick that one. I don't care what else is chosen here. That one will be one of the 3. Added enhance. When opening the servant detail screen from the party formation screen or party confirmation screen, you can now jump directly to various strengthening screens. That's actually a good thing. I can check this one off, but this is the weakest of the 3 right now. Added enhanced status and own status to the craft essence filtered settings. I don't give 2 shits about that because you could already sort by like literally level. So enhanced status is what it is. Added mana prism exchange, advanced C, campaign C, event summon C, event reward C, experience C to the type filter settings of the craft essences. No, I don't care about that. On the craft essence selection screen, craft essence chocolate return gift was previously displayed regardless of whether the filter setting was set to event reward craft essence or chocolate return gift, but has now been fixed so that it will only be displayed when chocolate return gift is selected. I mean, yeah, that's a good thing, but you couldn't pay me to check that because that's you fixing a problem that you created. Like that's a bug fix. So I don't care. Added a function to the game options to reset all settings related to the ascension stages of all owned units to the default settings. I don't care about that. In the random ascension stage settings on the servant detail screen, regardless of random ascension stage bulk settings set in the game options, you can now set the random ascension stage setting to on or off for each servant individually. So I think you could always do that, but there was a override for all servants is what they're talking about. Now they're saying like, hey, that override won't override. It'll disregard any specific settings you set on a specific unit. That's a nice change. I don't care. Expanded the initial friend limit to 40 people. I don't think that matters at all. Added the ability to temporarily leave battle in the Olga quest. That's actually a good change, but we'll get into that when we get there, and it's not that big of an impact. Modified so that the target's attribute and secondary attribute can be checked from the details screen during battle. So I guess this is just not during battle, and then this one is during battle? Well, then, fuck that. I'm unchecking this, and I'm putting it on this one. When resuming a battle after temporarily leaving in the Olga Marie quest, if you have a servant that is unable to be deployed or a craft essence that has been lost due to strengthening or selling set in your party, a dialogue will now be displayed indicating that the party configuration from the previous deployment cannot be saved. That is a stupid thing, and that is also a bug fix. Modified to allow for account linking with Aniplex Online. Oh, don't do me like this. See, this is why this is stupid that there's only 3. All right, we're unchecking this. I think that's huge. Sales of Saint Quartz have begun on Aniplex Online using the account linking function. All right, I now get to uncheck this because I think that is also huge. Added a punctuation wait time option for the text display speed. You know what? No, fuck it, chat. They were going to do that anyways. Nothing, me saying that was a good thing is not going to change anything. So, where was the other one? Wait, no, it wasn't that. Yeah, the screen during battle. So this is the thing I want to emphasize, the account linking. I don't give 2 shits about this. It definitely saves me money, so I do like it. But like I said, they were going to do this anyways. Because this also gains them more money. Turtle power. Added a punctuation wait time option to the text display speed option of the game options, which allows you to set the wait time for punctuation marks and adventure parts in 4 stages. Sure. 2 new append skills have been added. No one's going to check that. No one will check this one. Holy shit. I cannot believe they actually put this in here. And the reason that I can't, this is actually an insult to everybody that this is here. It actually is. Because this was such a clusterfuck that they had to come out and publicly apologize and fix this. So the fact that they put this in are like, hey, was this a positive change? No, it fucking wasn't a positive change, you idiots. Why would you put this in here? This is asking for negative feedback. It's like rage bait. And again, like, overall, I actually don't think the 4th and the 5th append is a bad thing. It's just the way in which they did it that's the problem. Added links to quests to obtain strengthening reincarnation lines. Actually good. And I am going to go and uncheck. I'm going to uncheck this one. This is actually a really, really awesome thing that they did. You know what? No. Even though it's an awesome thing, they've already done it, and there's not anything else that's going to do it. So I'm going to keep going back, and I'm going to say this because what I want them to do with this, I want them to keep adding more. I really want this checked if I can help it. Command spell recovery speed changed from recover 1 stroke every day. So this was also a good change, but they've also done everything they can on this. They won't touch this ever again. Added a challenge button to some limited time missions on the master mission screen. I think this is just like if there's a limited master mission, you can just like go right to it with this. Added a roadmap that shows at a glance the list of rewards that can be obtained when each chapter is cleared. This is a cool feature. It doesn't impact any veteran player of the game. Modified to allow transitions to achievable quests from the master mission limited screen. Same deal. The guaranteed summon of the limited time pickup summon has been modified so that the guaranteed summon will continue from the second summon onwards. Fuck! How? Why did you make it so I could only pick 3? Why? Why? I'm gonna uncheck the 4-star one because this one is more important. And it's because it's like I want them to understand that the pity system is kind of trash. And I'm not even going to talk about like the amount. I'm talking about the other functions of the pity system need to be improved. And that's why I really want to incentivize this one. This is a good change. 10 to 15 parties now that you can save. Expanded the number of servants and craft essence is also good. Increased the command code inventory. They really did a lot this year. They really did. Even I didn't remember all of these. The maximum number of storage slots that can be added by consuming mana prisms has been increased when using increased servant storage slots and increased craft essence storage slots. Yep, that's fine. That's also a normal thing. They do that every year. Added a function to display the possession status of 5-star servants in the lucky bag summon. Also nice. In quests where part of the formation is fixed, a dialog box will now be displayed on the formation screen that allows you to perform an automatic formation. Would have been nice for an A, but yes, like this is also a nice thing. The amount of pure prisms that can be obtained as a reward for completing the main quest has been doubled. Was it? I didn't realize that. Maybe I did. Maybe we got a lump sum at one point and I just totally like glossed over it thinking that it's like, oh yeah. New prism to pure prism exchange chalk reset. Ooh. So this is an interesting one. I'm sure a lot of people will say this is a positive thing. I think this is the one that's going to come back to bite them in the ass. Like long term, they're going to regret this one. Kind of like how I said that they were going to regret not capping the blue apples. This one, adding the ability to reset the mana, or sorry, the pure prism like stuff is going to really hurt them, I think, in the long term, especially if they keep adding them. As long as they keep it extremely limited, it won't be a big issue. But if they keep expanding that, they're going to regret that. The recommended support formation feature is now permanent. Sure. The battle results screen has been modified to display the amount of bond points required for the next bond level up. It was also a nice thing. I think they did that like way back at the beginning of the year. This has been around a long time now. Modified to eliminate AP consumption when losing or retreating in some of the main quests. I didn't realize they did this, but good. Added a pen skill switching feature that allows you to switch pens. This is also like one of their best features that they did. We were talking about it yesterday. I can't believe they did. All right. please improve the pity system for 4 stars. What feature added in 2024 would you like to see improved? Please choose 3 that apply. Well, it's basically the 3 I picked. Right here. There's your pity. Chat, should I be evil? Should I be evil? Why, chat, why don't we get a 6th append? This. What was the other one that I picked? Yeah, the in-game one. Please add more in-battle details to units. What are your top 3 favorite non-game developments for Fate Grand Order that have taken place so far? I'm gonna begrudgingly say the TV animes. I think featured anime is movies? And collaborations with other industries. I think that's the best thing for them. What about Fate Grand Order, and what do you like about Fate Grand Order? What are you looking forward to? Refreshing feeling, replay value, casualness, popularity, music, background music, battle, strategy, craft essences, servant strengthening and spirit origin ascension, events and campaigns, new rules added for in-game events, improvements to the existing battle system, new peripheral developments outside of games, broadcasting station, radio station, learning with manga, learn about Fate Great Order for videos, learn in 1 minute. Yeah, chat, I just checked everything except that one. What would you like to see improved about Fate Grand Order? um Let's see. What else would I like to see improved? Graphics. Casualness. God, that's got to rub in some people's craw. And I'm even gonna say character as well. Not that they do a bad job, but just that, like, I feel like by checking that pushes them. I'm checking the things that I want to see them like go above and beyond on. That's why I said like the illustrator, right? Maybe they'll hire more. About your Fate Grand Order gameplay, please choose one that applies to you. There was a time when I stopped playing for more than a month. There have been 2 occasions where I stopped playing for more than a month. Now I don't play anymore. Plans to return in the future. I have never stopped playing for more than a month. If you've never stopped playing for more than a month, please select I've never stopped playing for more than a month. Okay. If you've never stopped playing for more than a month, please select never stop playing for more than a month. Ah, we get the fast pass. So this is just them. It's sort of like an exit survey of like, why did you stop playing? This is interesting. You can't put a content creator as the reason why you stopped playing. I was just curious because you can put it that it's a reason for why you did. Chat, if any of you came back to the game, please check this. Do me that favor. Please check this. Please do it for me. Okay? Even if I wasn't the reason you did, please check this. Please. Please select your intention to continue with current Fate Grand Order as a whole. Want to continue playing as I have in the past. Please select your overall satisfaction with the current version of Fate Grand Order. Satisfied, no complaints. Somewhat satisfied. Yeah, no, this is the truth. Like there is some dissatisfaction. I won't deny that. They like no game's perfect. Oh fuck. 200 characters or less for why I rated it what I did. Would modernizing be a word that they would understand? Check. What's another word for modernizing something? There. I think that's the truth. Like, this is a really broad thing. They don't need to be like 1-to-1 with another gacha game. But the fact of the matter is, they're not doing a whole lot. Like, and I think they're just kind of towing the line in this regard. And I want to see them at least do something, right? Like, give us a reason to be excited for the game again. Like, so an example of this, and I'll even put this in here. Yeah. So like something like Live 2D would go a long way, right? I'll just say actually because that might not translate well. Would be good. Did I? Apparently I didn't put a space in there. We need something like that. Like something that shows that like they're not just trying to milk the fucking game. Where they're going like, hey, yeah, we're still trying to innovate. We're maybe not the fastest developers. We maybe have some issues, but we're still trying. We're still optimistic about the future. We're still doing more to make this a better game. That's what I want to see. It doesn't have to be Live 2D, but I want to see them start to broaden their horizons and not just keep tunnel visioning and pretending like the rest of the world doesn't exist. Okay? I think that's a good thing for them to do. Let's see how they handle it in the future. Please tell us which media outlets you have seen them on. FGO short videos. We have FGO shorts? I mean, like, I guess we have the TikTok channel, so I guess I did kind of know that, but I was like, I guess I'm assuming this is as to this. But I was unaware that we had a YouTube Shorts variant. Like, have they actually started uploading some of the TikTok stuff to YouTube? Because if they have, I sure as fuck haven't seen it. It's been there? Holy crap. That's not good. Like that, I'm absolutely like the target demographic, right? So how the heck am I not seeing it? But I guess because again, like I'm not necessarily watching like the Japanese side of things, so that does make a little bit of sense. Just gonna go with neither. I like. Because again, like it's difficult to talk about these broadly, and each individual one's going to be different. And I don't speak a lick of Japanese, so tell us what you want in the official FGO short video. Ooh, yes. I don't want game strategy information because I don't trust them. How have you viewed FGO's live broadcasts in the past year? Whole thing in real time. %? All right, let's see. So we only got a couple more here, chat. Please tell us your satisfaction with the following sections of the official FGO live broadcast. The pre-broadcast. Honestly, I don't really have an opinion. I think like if anything, they're just like long. Somewhat satisfied information. Somewhat satisfied. Latest gaming information. I feel like they do a good job of this. I do. I think they do a really good job of that. Ending. Somewhat satisfied. How does your willingness to watch change between regular and light versions of FGO? They want to see if people watch the light version, if that's a problem. And I think it probably is. I think when, like, for instance, whenever NA does a light version, like, less people show up to my stream to watch. So, like, I do think there is a thing there. The official live stream were held with an audience. Would you watch it? I've already visited the venue and would like to visit again in the future. Yeah, I think I'd like to if I get the chance, but obviously I don't think I'd ever get the chance. I don't really have opinions on this. If you have any other expectations, opinions, or requests for Fake Granddaughter, please write them here. Oh, fuck. Honestly, I really gotta say, like, they did a great job over the last year. Like seriously, they did an actually good job, and I think this is something that they're probably not receiving enough credit for. I think in this prior year, they absolutely addressed the vast majority of issues that I had with the game. Some of them were small, and not all of them are done. But I think they actually went out there and tried to make the game as best as possible within the bounds and constraints of what it is. But they do need to be upgrading. they do need to start looking towards the future. So here it is. There you go, chat. The only things they actually need to hear. And you don't have to get super complex with it, but realistically speaking, like, you know, I can talk about things like the quick situation and everything, but this matters less to the overall state of the game. The overall state of the game really needs certain things. One of the biggest is it needs some sort of confirmation from the developers that part 3 exists. I think if they don't, there's going to be problems. Do you think they listen to NA players on the JP survey? Yes, because there are English speakers that live in Japan. I think that we really need that confirmation for honestly just shutting the doomers in the community up, and for the increased optimism and potential growth of the game. I also think they need to continue to revisit old storylines that are, again, either early FGO units or units from original Fate Stay Night and stuff like that. I think they need to stop ignoring those characters and just constantly focusing on the new. But that is the problem. If they do this, I think it will increase the game's popularity. I think the more they just keep pumping out new characters, the more people will just continue to ignore FGO. Because in a weird way, while new characters can attract people, like you saw with Snake Mommy, I think what actually a lot of the fans that are still currently playing the game want is that nostalgia. They want those old characters that they came to know and love to get more, and they don't get enough as far as I'm concerned. I think that's also a good one. It's really for the best though. I don't know. I just like, I'm okay with them releasing new characters, right? It's just, it does feel to me like for a long time they have ignored some of the original characters. Like the classic example that always comes up is like how they just constantly circle jerk the LB6 characters. And we all know and love the LB6 characters. But because they don't do anything else for any of the other characters, we're at this point where the game is just a massive LB6 circle jerk, and we basically don't have any love being given to other things, and it's not a good thing to be at that point. So I really do want them to go back and start looking into what they can do and how long it's been since they've featured some of these characters. Again, particularly if they were a popular character back in the day. I think that will actually do wonders, because I can't tell you how many of these people that, like, again, like, let's say you're a Rin fan, right? Like, you went years without a new Rin face. And so, you know, at that point, is it that they're not running a new Rin face because she's not popular? No, of course not. It's just literally they didn't get around to it for whatever stupid godforsaken reason that they had, and they even admitted this to us, that they're like, oh well, yeah, we should have done it sooner, but we didn't. Sorry, oops, tee hee. So I think it's like at the end of the day, it just shows that that's not their priority, and they need to start making it more of their priority. And I'm not saying specifically like for Rin faces, I'm saying this for all characters. This is something where they need to go back and they need to look and re-examine and say, hey, are we just ignoring some of the characters that we brought into the game? And what can we do to actually give them more exposition, more spotlight, and kind of pull them back into the focus and give them that popularity? I think if they do that, that will really help. I would ask for 4-star pity here. Yeah, I can definitely ask for something like that. Like, this isn't a huge thing for me with the 4-star pity, but I know it is a thing that a lot of the community wants, so I'm happy to put it in here for you guys. I think it's like, at minimum, they need to do something. So I'm not saying that it like needs to be part of like the hard pity system, but they need to do more, because with the way the banners currently work, it just fucking sucks. So. Incoherent for the sake of throwing out units that might come from older parts of the franchise. Yeah. Yeah, I can see that. Shisho fans realizing she hasn't gotten a major story role since America. Yeah, I mean, like, you've literally only had Scotty, and even Scotty has had, like... So let's see, like out of all the things that I can remember that Shisho's included in, like base Shisho. For base Shisho, you have America, you have Summer 1, and you have was it the Land of Shadows gotcha event. For Scotty, you have LB2. You have her summer event, which was what? That's summer 6? No, we just had this. It was summer 7. Imaginary Scramble? That was OG Shisho though, wasn't it? It was OG Shisho in a swimsuit. Or was it Scotty? It was Scotty? Okay. Yeah, so it's like, it's not that they haven't been featured, but they really they haven't done a whole lot with them. And honest to God, like, outside of like this and this, none of them were actual like prominent features. They were just another character that existed within the story. Actually, that's not true. This was a thing here too. But just kind of low-key the reason for all of Summer 7. So, but yeah, it's like, I don't know. They definitely need to do more in that front. It was Scotty with Shisho's swimsuit. That's right. That's what they did. Because we didn't have Summer Scotty at the time. All right. So I think that's it for the survey, chat. Again, I'm happy that they do these. They need to keep doing them. They need to keep talking to their players, because like conversation and communication with the community absolutely needs to improve. so many of the ways that they interact with the community are one-sided. So they stream something to you, they put out a video, they ask you a survey, right? Like that is one of the few multi-sided things. Otherwise, they don't really interact. So this is one of the few times that they actually get to hear from us, and this is why I at least take them somewhat seriously, and I always try to, you guys can see, like almost game the system. I try to answer not even necessarily truthfully, but rather in a way that I think they need to hear so that the game gets better. And so it's like, even if I don't necessarily like check the box myself, I'll still check the box if I think it'll make the game better. And that's exactly why I fill these out this way. Because again, I think this feedback is invaluable to them. I don't think they necessarily get to hear from us directly very often because they don't have forums. They don't have a Discord. They don't have a real presence on social media. Because even when they do, they don't read or react to any of the social media responses. So it is very much a cloistered thing for the developers of this game, and they need to get out of their shell a little bit more and actually see what the community is saying on some of the stuff. Stop blocking events behind lost belts? Nope, they can't do that. They have to lock events behind lost belts. And we could debate this, chat. You won't like the answer, but this is a developer answer. The developer has to lock events behind the lost belt because it's the only incentive for you to actually do the freaking story. If they don't lock stuff, then you'll just never do the story. And I say you as in the collective you, not like you specifically. Locking events behind lost belts will hurt new player retention. True. Also, the highest factor of player retention is probably story and story completion rate. So if you don't complete the story, you probably don't give a shit about the game, and you probably quit playing the game. So they have to do it. In a weird way, they have to like force you to. And I know that sounds wild, but like, no, I completely get where they're coming from on that. Now, that being said, I've talked about this before. This is one of the things that I think, like, if they do a part 3, they should actually like reset. So, and there are ways that you can do that. Streamlock is already released up to OC2. Yeah, people made a really big deal about like oh, you can't stream or do this. It's really not that big of a deal. We're fine. The only people that I've seen get in trouble for streaming the game aren't streaming the game. They're literally making spoiler content. And what do I mean by spoiler content? I mean, they are straight up just posting unedited videos of the story 1-to-1. It's not actual content at all. Calling it content is like a disservice to content creators everywhere. So people that are doing that are getting in trouble. Nobody else is getting in trouble. And I kind of get why they would go after that, because why play the game then? So they're trying to say like, hey, look, yeah, you can't just post all of this. Especially because some of it was machine translated, and that wasn't good for the game overall, because you guys know there have been several misconceptions that have gotten perpetuated by that over the years. So I think, yeah, it really wasn't that big of a factor. I've streamed everything that's come out on JP, and I haven't had any sort of trouble with it. Let's be fair, if they had an official Discord, how much would it be, I failed to pull on X, your game sucks? I'm sure it would, but that would be like locked to a specific channel. Like, and so that we're clear, chat, do you think that would be unique to FGO? Sure, that happens in every other gacha game Discord. But having a direct line of communication to the developers would be invaluable for this community. Like having an actual official community would be a good thing. There's also a couple of translators who had agendas with how they translated or portrayed things. I don't really know. Like I don't know personally the people that work on that stuff, so completely non-transformative content getting slapped down. Oh no. So anyway, yeah, exactly. It happens everywhere, right? But yeah, like if you don't do anything, if you don't provide any input and you upload that, yeah, I don't really care. Like I'm a-okay with them doing stuff on that. Like that's just lazy stuff anyways, and honestly that actually goes against several YouTube guidelines anyways. I prefer silence to those useless community managers other games have. You're not wrong, right? Like I'm just saying there is no like so chat, if you have issues or feedback or something that you would like to tell to the developers, how do you go about doing it? How do you make your voice heard right now as a player of Fate Grand Order? You don't. This is literally the only way. The survey is the only way that they hear you. So it's like they only give out a survey once a year. So if anything happens in the next like 6 months, 12 months, you name it, right? Like anything between now and the next survey that you want to provide feedback to developers for, you have no other avenue. The best thing you can do is gnash and wail and like grit your teeth and scream on Twitter. That's it. That's the only thing. And I'm going to be honest with you, they really don't see the NA side of that. They probably only see the Japanese people and how they're reacting to things. So it is what it is. God, please, the messenger pigeons will get there eventually, I'm sure. Yeah. But yeah, I'm not gonna say like they're like it's all good if you make a Discord. I think there's a lot of drawbacks to it too. But I'd rather have the official avenue. I'd rather have the official community. And here's the other thing, chat. I would rather have the official community run by the developers and their staff rather than an unofficial community run by a bunch of miniature despots on like Reddit. Okay? I'm sorry, but it's the truth. I would 10 times rather be dealing with actual employees that are paid to be impartial rather than some dude on an ego trip on the internet. Because yeah, it doesn't mean that you won't have problems with the employee, but there's recourse if there is. Whereas the dude having an ego trip on Reddit, you can't do anything about. Even if you try to report him, you're reporting him to the moderation staff, of which he is already a member, and nothing will ever fucking happen. So it is what it is. Oh, no, I can give you a more recent and pretty much the exact same thing as what JC's saying. Chat, I don't know if y'all heard, but the news for Marvel Rivals. So they were going to do a disastrous fucking mid-season update. And because everybody got on the official Rivals Discord and complained to them about it, behold, literally within 24 hours, they reversed course. They straight up said, you know what? This is a bad decision. Here you go. Good. And I'm not going to say this hasn't happened with FGO. Happened with the 4th and the 5th append, but it literally took us screaming. Meanwhile, we never get feedback heard on anything else. And that was like, the 4th and the 5th append was finally the line in the sand that a lot of people were willing to like quit the game over. And I understand, right? It's a good thing they listened is all I can say. But yeah, the officially like having an officially run channel, the good thing. Absolutely a good thing. Why would you reset rank mid-season anyways? So the thing is, like, they wanted to do it, I'm sure, for like player retention, but everyone was screaming at them saying like, no, it already takes so long to grind. Thing is, we were also pointing out, it's like, so they give you a reward, they give you a skin, and potentially like other things if you get even higher for the first half of the season. And then they give you a skin and other rewards as well for the second half of the season. And then they're also doing a rank reset in between. And they're also doing a rank reset at the beginning of the season. So at what point, why would we call it a half season? At that point, this is season 1 and this is season 2, not season 1 and season 1.5. It's literally a whole new season at that point if that's what you're gonna do. So one thing I would like to see FGO do is continue to improve the new player experience. The new player experience is way better than it used to be. The hardest thing about the new player experience, and chat, it's the truth. Like you were just talking about it. It's like, oh, well, events are locked behind like Ordeal Call and Lost Belt. That's fine. For new players, it sucks. For new players, they have to actually get all of that story done. Meanwhile, they have everybody telling them don't skip the story, but they have every incentive to skip the story. So the fact that there is so much story out there, hours upon hours upon hours of content that they need to get through. Yeah, I mean, at this point, it's a major issue for FGO. Twitter replies could be another avenue of communication. It could, but they literally do not respond to anything on Twitter. They can go read your replies to their stuff, and that might be a way that they do it, but we just don't know because they never say anything like that. Like, we know at least to an extent they do hear it because of what happened with the 4th and the 5th append, but yeah, I don't necessarily think that that's something that they regularly pay attention to. Evocation shop helps so much. It does. It'd be to upgrade the AP bar to be not be reliant on player level and be at less 160 to 200 when maxed out. So the only issue for that, if you were to sit here and say, all right, we're now increasing the bar from like, let's see, what is it for me right now? 146. We're going to increase this up to like 180. They can do this. The problem with this is, one, this does mean you get to go less time without playing the game, or more time without playing the game. And two, every single apple that you have that is silver or gold now gets that much more value. So this changes the overall efficiency of the game. I would not expect them to change the AP amount. Like I think within reason, this 146 will eventually get to 150, but I would not expect it to go like much higher than this. A lot of new players dislike no autoplay too. I don't know if that's good or bad. I think that's just one of the expectations of gacha games in general, but it is what it is. I mean, I say that they can dislike no autoplay all they want, but most games will force you to fight a node for the first time. So it's not even a big deal when you're going through story. The only thing it would matter for is like the redundant spending down of AP, and that's really not a big deal. A player pressed to play the game or they lose AP after 12 hours. Well, I mean, do they have any other recourse? Is there anything that a player could do if they needed to get rid of their AP, but they didn't have time to play the game? It's like I don't know. I can't think of anything. Yeah, they've said they're not going to do an NP skip. It's one of the few things the developers have actually come out and said they will never do an NP skip, and I don't blame them. Yes, but you know that Blue Apple was not the best solution for that problem. Well, like, what do you mean? Like Blue Apples are fine to an extent. Like there's some issues with Blue Apples, but like for instance, was it the best thing that I could do right now? Actually, yes. Like it is literally one of the best things I could do right now. Because I already did my 3 runs for the day, and there's not really like a half cost thing for me right now to do. So like spending blue apples or like creating blue apples is actually the best thing for my AP. It's the same reason Dokkan doesn't allow you to skip super attack. Yeah. So like, look, chat. This is why I've said like y'all are bringing up like, oh, you know, but like there's so much like content and stuff you have to catch up for. I agree. I do think this is a thing. But this is also why I've said like as you get to a part 3, they need to say, okay, that's fine, but everything part 1 and part 2 is not required then. It becomes optional. And then basically mandatory is part 3 onward. And then this all gets like, it's still here. There's still rewards for doing it, but it's no longer a requirement in order to participate in anything for part 3. And I think that's the way that you do it because it allows for a reset. So now you don't have to do all the story all at once. Now you don't have to do it to catch up. Like you only have to do up to part 3 for whatever things are locked to. And I think that actually works. It works on both ends if they do that. It's not the end of the world if some AP just rots. True. Can have it like Epic of Remnant. Yeah. Make part 1 and 2 non-required, but don't have new nodes for their maths. Yeah, I think that's fine. Need to do Fuyuki, but can skip everything else. Yeah, if they wanted to do something like that, I think that'd be fine. Like Fuyuki is quote unquote the tutorial, right? So unless they want to, I mean, hey, chat, is any of you gonna argue if they wanted to make Fuyuki non-required and then put a new tutorial in the game for part 3? Would any of you complain? Would any of you be like, oh no, what have they done? Because like the tutorial in Fuyuki is ass. It is one of the shittiest tutorials I have ever seen in a video game. And at this point, I don't expect them to fix it. So if they wanted to implement a new tutorial with a new introduction chapter for part 3, fuck yeah. I wouldn't mind replaying Fuyuki. It's been so long. You can always start a new account. Sure, but if you don't do Fuyuki, you don't get the free 4 stars in it. I mean, that's fine, but that's exactly the idea, right? Like, you have the incentive to go back and do all the old part 1 and part 2 content, but you don't have to do it right now. You can put it off until whenever you decide you have the time. And that would actually be great. but we'll see, right? Like, I can come up with all of these things. I've already told you guys before, I could fix FGO, but I can fix FGO in a vacuum in which I don't have to do any of the work. So, you know, putting all of these ideas into practice is always something that's difficult and not something that is like as easy as I'm making it out to be. And that's something y'all need to understand. Like, it's not as simple as like, oh, bro, I could just fix the game and snap my fingers and it all works out just fine. There's obviously going to be issues with anything like this. And it's why I just have to say, like, I don't know. I don't know how this will go in that regard. When Pekora found some bug, but yeah, outside of that, no changes. Yeah, and it's really funny because you can tell they actually pay attention to Pekora. But this is why I said, like, they actually need to start embracing content creators and not just paid off corporate VTubers. They need to actually start like they need to start doing what other game developers are doing. They need to look at what other people are doing and say, would this benefit us? If we hired a person to take care of this, would this be a good thing? If we, you know, like for instance, if we put someone not just in charge of posting shit to social media, but now also responding to questions and concerns on social media, that would probably go a long way, right? Like at that point, yeah, you have a little bit of a community manager, but who cares, right? Same thing with like you could have a content creation liaison. You could run a lot of this stuff through a Discord. You could also end up having, you know, more of a direct line of communication, or even posting things like dev diaries and little snippets to the Discord in the effort of driving it and getting people to go there and operate within the bounds of your community. So I think there's a lot that they can do that will really help drive interest in the game, and they're just not doing any of it right now. I'd be okay with them holding off on part 3 for a bit to do major improvements to the game. The problem with that is they've already been holding off, it feels like. Right now, FGO kind of feels content where it is. And I do agree, and I think that's one of the problems. Like, FGO is just coasting. It's not really doing anything. It's just moving along the line, ever marching forward, but it's not trying to climb a hill. It's not like doing anything special. It's not taking the scenic route or anything like that. It's just it's headed right to its destination, whatever that destination may be. So it's like I want to see the game try just a little bit more. I feel like they've been doing a good job of addressing a lot of the community concerns over the past year. Let's hope that they continue that this year. And to be fair, this year, you know, they've done some interesting stuff already so far. But I haven't seen like the huge litany of like buffs and stuff that we got last year. I haven't seen that they're necessarily going to continue a lot of this. I think their focus right now is actually on getting Ordeal Call done, which I don't think is a bad thing. I think like that's actually good that they're going to kind of focus up on that. But we'll see kind of where they go from here. FGO knows it's got it made and is kind of using that. See, I don't want to get doomer, but if FGO refuses to innovate, if FGO just continues to try and try and subsist and just keep kind of doing the norm and not doing anything extra or special, FGO will slowly begin to decline. And I say this, I do think the game already to some degree has declined in its player population. I think less people are playing FGO overall nowadays compared to how it used to be. FGO is certainly not at its peak in terms of popularity anymore. And I can attest to that purely from a content creation standpoint. The numbers are not what they used to be. So it's like, that's not me trying to be doomer. That's me stating kind of the obvious and me wanting them to reverse course. Me wanting them to say, you know what? Let's actually try again. Let's go out here. Let's try to grow the game. Let's try to fix its reputation. Let's try to do something new. See if we can turn some heads. See if we can get some new blood in here and actually make the game, pop off again. And I think that'd be good for it if it did. Thanks to Blue Apples, it's really easy to coast. And once you're coasting, it's all easier to stop. Yeah. All right, chat. I'm going to go ahead and end it here for tonight. Thank you guys for watching. We went way longer on the survey than I expected to, but it's fine. Like, tomorrow we have the JP event, so if you guys haven't already, make sure you spend down your AP. Actually, I say that. I don't know what time it is tomorrow. I don't know if it's like tonight at reset or if it's like tomorrow at reset. So I may be wrong on that, but either way, it's coming in hot. Let me see if anybody's on. Anybody we can give some love to. Mr. CZ's on tonight. He's doing some ZZZ. And again, I will see you guys tomorrow. In the meantime, go give Mr. CZ my love and have a good one.